Hey everyone! Hello, 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 hello. Okay, let's see who we got in chat so far. Let me see here. All right, let me take a look. Ba-dun-dun-dun. Okay. Winter Linde's here. Yeah, Winter Linde, first one here today. Fantastic. Hello, Winter Linde. Long Beach Dragon. Hello, Long Beach Dragon. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, Long Beach Dragon says, like I predicted with the California redistricting to 3 members. Oh, okay. Yep. Looks like you were right there, Long Beach Dragon. I guess some of the folks on the redistricting committee have quit. All right. Well, um, they're saying that they're going along with it. It is completely against the mission. Interesting. Um, Interesting. Okay. Fortunately. Hello, Jay Dubois. Hello. Welcome back. Who else we got here? Bruh Moment. Of course, gotta have Bruh Moment. Another staple here, like Long Beach Dragon. Lissa's here. Good, good. Another staple. Fantastic. What else we got? Big Braden, of course, Big Braden. And Macy, good, fantastic. Good to see Macy here. I see here Matt Sy Guy, excellent, excellent. Who else we got? Alan W, fantastic. The whole crew again coming together. All right, folks. So let's see here. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world. I'm kind of yeah, you notice the name of this stream starts with UG because boy, I've been trying to get back into reading the news more after my vacation and such. Things aren't looking good. I mean, we all knew they already weren't, but things are really not looking good. Which we will be talking about a bit today. We will also be talking about slavery a little bit because Trump is trying to, as all fascists do, rewrite the history books a little bit there. I am going to now, I think I didn't do it already. Yeah, I didn't. I will put in a goal here for if we get 5 super chats, of course, I will be putting on the jester hat, as always. And we might need a little comedy today because of all that's going on in the world. Okay, jester hat. Jester hat. There we go. Start that goal. Oh, I'll do 3 hours. Okay. There we go. Again, folks, if you are yeah, Alan W, we're going to be talking about that. Trump sending a Death Star. When I say that, folks, I mean I am exaggerating a bit, but the power of the fleet he's sending to the shore of Venezuela is like the equivalent of a Death Star on planet Earth, I guess. You'll see what I mean. So by the way, folks, as always, if you'll notice, I've still been adding some emojis. I added one more. It's not that great. I'm gonna need to redo it. It's Trump puckering his lips. You can't see it very well. I will try to find a better one, but there it is. Put it in chat. If you would like to become a member, you will get that lovely little jester hat next to your name. You'll be able to use some of our special emojis. Okay, for as little as 99 cents a month, you can do that. You can also join me on Patreon. Help support me for $5 a month. La da da da. Okay. And yeah. So yes, our future politician is here. Dubois is here. Okay. By the way, I love your name, Dubois. If anyone knows Web Dubois or WEB Dubois, um, great historical figure. Okay. Thank you, Alyssa. Alyssa, thank you very much for posting those. Okay. Uh, all right, guys. So we got a lot to get into. I kind of want to start here. We have right now 21 people. Wow, that's actually a lot for the moment to start with. So again, folks, if you send a super chat, if we get five, we'll put on the jester hat. 10, of course, put on the collar. And I do want to show you all something that I want to start. Tiago's here. Hello, Tiago. Welcome back. We're very quickly becoming a regular. You might be related to Dubois. We will totally talk about Dubois sometime. Love, love, love Dubois on stream sometime. Okay. We'll talk about Dubois. Okay. Um, so absolutely. So I wanted to show you. I have a little, my inner history nerd here. I wanted to show you all kind of do a little brief show and tell here. I have an object for you to show all of you. Okay. So I think I've told you my grandfather fought in Europe during World War II, and he brought back for the gamers in here, he brought back a loot crate. Okay. And one of the things he did, in fact, bring back was this. I will show it to you now. Um, can everyone see this? I'm gonna switch here so to make sure that you all can see that. Do you all see what that is? So obviously there's no hate there's no like swastika or anything on this. This is a captured hat worn by a member of the German Air Force, Luftwaffe, as it's called. Grandfather brought it back. You can even still see the sweat stains, the Nazi sweat stains on the inside of it. Okay, it is brittle. I am trying to hold it very carefully here, but this was like an object that was captured at World War II and brought back to the United States. Um, just thought you'd all find that super interesting. Now, I will say an interesting thing about this object here. I will, if I go here to stream, um, I will. I know you get a Nazi loot crate. I will say, a lot of times these folks would have located right here. They would have a skull or some other emblem, and a lot of times we don't know if there was one there, but as the war was ending, a lot and the Americans were coming into Germany and such, a lot of these guys removed that pin because they didn't want to be identified as being Nazi, so that they wouldn't be, quote unquote, mistreated by the Americans. They would deserve it, but anyway, so they would remove it. So he brought it without the symbol up there. So maybe the guy removed it before he was captured. We're not sure. Um, welcome to chat, Glizzinator. It kind of does look like Trump, right? Like those stains. Looks like the color of his skin. Maybe that says something. Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway, so I thought you'd find that interesting. Some other times I'll slowly but surely show you the rest of the loot bin that we have here. Yes, Skull was SS. We don't know if this guy was SS or I should say also sometimes they would have a swastika up there. It's yeah, Big Braden, you're right. The Nazis fearing persecution is almost too ironic. Agreed. Okay, agreed. Um, and Dumbo, we don't know. Going back to what Dumbo was saying, we don't know if the guy was SS, so he may not have even had a skull up there. But a lot of times they would remove it in case they were captured because they didn't want to be associated with that. Now, so it's an interesting side note there. Okay, folks. Let me so again, folks. If we get five super chats, I'll put on the jester hat. And yeah, okay. And yeah. So, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, folks? So, I do want to talk about a few things, obviously, because that's what we do. Um, Did you really, Tiago? Tiago says he marched in military school with guns from the Nazis. Interesting, very interesting. Um, they really used to have a swastika on them? Did they remove the swastikas from those? Um, uh, heck, I mean, hey, I'm okay with using guns that were captured by the Nazis. I mean, it's kind of funny, and it's like, oh, you lost. Now we get to use your guns. But hey, remove the swastikas. Okay, not that I'm a big fan of guns. I'm just saying. Okay. Um, and by the way, folks, on another side note here, a lot of the German military during World War II was not supplied by Germany. It was supplied by the looting of like Czechoslovakia and stuff. So yeah, they had a mishmash of weapons. We tend to think that the German military in World War II was this, march in perfect lockstep super modern army, but they were not. That was mainly propaganda. As a matter of fact, most of their transportation was done by horseback. Okay, and we don't tend to think about that, but the Nazis were unfortunately pretty efficient at propaganda, so we got the impression that they were super efficient and stuff. They were not. Okay. Anyway, that's just a side note there. Okay, so let's get into some stuff here. I wanted to quickly talk about slavery. I like prepared this like 10 minutes ago after I finished reading about Trump's decision on the Smithsonian here. So I don't have a presentation, but I will show you some images. I'm going to give you a slight trigger warning here. I'm not going to be. Uh, I'm not going to try and overly glorify this. I will tell you honestly though about it. So what I wanted to quickly talk about before we get into the horrific news stories, and this is, I guess, one of them, is that Trump. Let me get up this story here. I'll put it up here. Um, okay. Okay. So here, I'll pull it up here. Hello, Plant Sunshine. Welcome to the chat here. Okay, so I'll pull this up. Live stream. There we go. Okay. Can we all see this? I'm guessing. So, Trump, he, I just, this headline, every time I see it blows my mind. Okay. This is New York Times. Trump says Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. God help us all, folks. God help us all. Okay, where to start? So, I mean, this is not terribly surprising. But still shocking. Okay. So, uh, yes, Tiago, you may propose this on for the end if you'd like to. Okay. Um, okay. Now, so let's talk about yeah, Lincoln definitely rolling in his grave, Big Braden. Um, he, I guess, he has ordered a review of museum exhibits like the Smithsonian Museum. Yeah, I know, right, Alyssa? I'm kind of past that point too. He has ordered a review of museum exhibits, claiming that they're too, the classic word, folks. What word do we think he's going to use here? Here, they're too what? What's the classic Trump line here? These exhibits are too, you can guess, woke, right? That's the line here. He said, so President Trump accused the Smithsonian Institute on Tuesday of focusing too much, exactly, Drusilla, on focusing too much on how bad slavery was and not enough on the brightness of America as his administration conducts a wide ranging review of the contents in museum exhibits. Yep, folks, you knew it. You knew it. Okay. Yeah, Long Beach Dragon. Long Beach Dragon says, wasn't there some black congressman who alluded that slavery and Jim Crow were good? Long Beach Dragon, there have been multiple incidents of that. Yeah, and folks. So okay, you know all that yeah, thank you, Big Brain. That is a great use of my dad's emoji. I was actually talking about it with him this morning, and that's kind of the way he reacted. The horror on his face. Um, so let's talk about this. When I was in grad school, I was studying fascism. I had to read all kinds of documents. I even went to Germany, to Freiburg went through Linde. Probably knows where that is, etc. And I actually went into the old Wehrmacht archives and was looking at some old military documents and stuff. And those were extremely disturbing, obviously, right? Because we're talking about um, We're talking about the Holocaust. We're talking about a lot of violence. Um, but um, I've also read documents in regards to slavery. And I almost got to say that those are almost more traumatizing to read. Uh, just saying it, okay? Than World War II documents because we'll go into it a little bit. But I think you all know this. Slavery was absolutely horrific, and oftentimes teachers don't go that in depth to it because of how bad it was. A lot of teachers do cover it really well, and I understand that younger kids probably shouldn't be honestly shouldn't be exposed to some of the worst aspects of it. But we don't often talk about how horrible it really was. Um, Trump went on to say the Smithsonian is out of control. Um, the Smithsonian is, of course, in all caps because he has no sense of grammar. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was. Sorry, would we discuss how good it was? Like what? Okay, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. What do we think he means by that? How unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. That almost sounds like victim blaming, doesn't it? Like, oh yes, well these black African slaves were so unaccomplished. Insane. Insane. Um Okay, nothing about success, nothing about brightness. I don't even know what that means. And not to mention the irony of Trump talking about brightness, okay? Nothing about the future. Mr. Trump said within a social media post, this country cannot be woke because woke is broke. We have the hottest country in the world and we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. Okay. Um, all right, folks, let's talk about slavery. Okay, let's take a deep dive here. Not necessarily deep dive. This is going to be kind of yes, okay. These are great comments here. Hi Skying, welcome back. Hi Skying says, "Do you see that they're encouraging the use of PragerU videos in schools?" Yeah. And actually, folks, I'm going to be doing a react video with my dad soon where we watch some PragerU videos because sweet Jesus. Um, if anyone has seen the one on Christopher Columbus, for example, unbelievable. Yeah, I will be doing some reaction to those. I know that it's being pushed in a lot of schools, especially in red states, to use these videos. Um, uh, I saw someone else had a great comment here. Where was this? Okay, oh yes, Alan W. Thank you. DeSantis, welcome, Alan W. I think I already said welcome to you. DeSantis greenlighted showing videos in classrooms that literally compared climate activists to Nazis. I did not see that, Alan W. Uh, okay, well, yeah, I'm not really Winterlinde, it is they are a series of quote int academic videos unquote, or I guess educational videos unquote, that are basically just right-wing propaganda. And a lot of you can find them on YouTube if you're interested. You might not want to waste your time, but if you're interested, you can go to YouTube and you can look at them. And a lot of right wing schools and such are, or right wing, I'm sorry, states are pushing to put these videos into schools to use for, yeah, it's just pure propaganda. It's a lie. They're in the Christopher Columbus one. You know what? Maybe we even will watch it on stream later. I don't want to give away what they say for the sake of the content, of course. I got a little so here, but absolutely, it's just pure propaganda. Okay. All right. So, folks, and now what he's doing folks, is he's Tiago. Don't even get me started. I think we all know that. Okay, Tiago says your system is so weird. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, guys, what he's doing is he's setting up like a commission to basically go around to all the museums and stuff in DC, and go around there and edit the info in there so that it is promoting this positive view of America. And folks, let me point something out. I know I have fascism on the brain here, but that fascists always do that. The Nazis immediately, that's one of the first things they did is they started changing the history books. They started burning history books that didn't give a positive view of history. They changed they changed like the history of World War One, basically claimed there was something called the Dolchstoßlegende, which basically said that World War One was due to Jews and socialists stabbing Germany in the back. Completely obviously nonsense, not true. Fascists always love changing history because remember, folks, fascism is about ultranationalism. This idea that your country is better than any other country, it's superior to any other country, and it's all that matters. So if you have that view of your country, it does not. It makes you can't have any sort of negative history, right? Because it would disprove the point. Okay, uh, so they always tend to mess with the history. Druzilla, absolutely. Supercharged American exceptionalism. Americans have always kind of had this sense of American exceptionalism that America is better than everywhere else. I think a lot of that is breaking recently, but not for a lot of folks on the right wing. And by the way, Trump actually said that we need more American exceptionalism taught in schools. Okay, um, yeah, yeah, Henry G. Yeah, Columbus, Hernan Cortez. Yeah, they were horrific. Okay, and the abuses they did were horrific. Yeah, this is very extreme, Alan W. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what slavery was actually like here. Again, I'm not going to go on for this for long. Uh, okay, and I want to show you some things here. Oh, we'll go. Well, where is this? I got a few images here to show you. So, okay, uh, here's an image right here. You may have all seen this before. I do hope some of your teachers showed this to you. This is a slave ship. So you can see here, it's not an exaggeration, folks. I think I said this on stream before that slaves, that as enslaved people, enslaved Africans were not viewed as people. They were viewed as livestock. And as a matter of fact, oftentimes in the documents, they wouldn't even be referred to as people. They'd be referred to as cargo. Um, so you can see here, this is a slave ship. This is a blueprint of how slavers bringing Africans from Africa would pack human beings next to each other and on top of each other within a slave ship. And by the way, folks, they'd have to be lying down, and there'd be like shelves above them with more people stacked on top of them, like cargo. Um, yep. Fox emblem. Tale is told of time. Use religion to excuse anti-humanity. Yeah. Okay. And they actually oftentimes would. They would refer to parts of the Bible that kind of talked about slavery to try to excuse a lot of it. And by the way, so this slave ship here, some other things you have to consider. I'm not trying to be gross. All right. But remember, there were no bathrooms. There were no bathrooms. There were a lot of folks would get seasick, and there was no place to relieve yourself after getting seasick. Diseases would be rampant on these things. As a matter of fact, folks, it is estimated, this is not an exaggeration, estimated that something like 1.6 million with an M, people died crossing the Atlantic on slave ships. Million. That might be a low estimate. And it is, by the way, the case that there would be times where if the individuals aboard these ships would try to rebel, which did happen occasionally. There was one case where they were successful. It was called the Amistad, where there was actually a slave uprising on one of these ships, and they were able to take control of the ship and then steer it into port. Most of the time, they were not successful. But if let's say someone on the ship wasn't doing what they were told to do, they might start throwing people overboard to make a point of them and to sort of scare everyone, all the other enslaved people on board. And I have read accounts. I have read accounts where there would be sharks following these ships as they went across the Atlantic. And one sailor in particular would even say that by the time these ships reached the New World, okay, as it was called, those sharks would be fat and having trouble swimming. So the brutality here is absolutely unimaginable, okay? Genocidal on scale. Um, and Trump is saying, oh, they're viewing slavery as too bad. It's being presented as too bad. All right, let me show you something else here. Something else I wanted to show you here. Here is an image of so as Africans in the interior and coasts of Africa. Yeah, no, you're right, Henry. A lot of these enslaved people would actually jump into the water rather than stay on these ships too. Okay. And I want to point out here's another thing. So on the shores, Europeans and slavers and such set up these slave forts on the coast of Africa. And basically, after people were enslaved in Africa and they'd be brought to the shore and they'd be kept in one of these forts until a slaver ship was able to make it there and they were able to load those individuals onto the ship and bring them to the New World. I read so this would happen often, okay? So they would basically force them into these prison cells in these forts. And I remember reading an account once. Um, I read an account once where there was this, I guess, commandant, one of the leaders of these forts, who was laughing. Okay. He had a diary, I guess, a log about what was going on. And he was laughing. You know why he was laughing? He had forgotten that he had put a bunch of these folks into a cell and locked the door, and then he forgot about it, and he came back 2 weeks later. You can imagine what had happened, okay? And he was laughing about it like, "Oh, oops, I locked them in there and I forgot about it. Oh, what a waste." Okay? I mean, I ugh, um I don't think there is a way to downplay the horror of slavery here, folks. That's not even getting us to what would happen when these people would get to the New World. Uh I can show you here. You know what? Let me show you something. Okay. Um, um, all right, here we go. These are called slave collars. Okay. You can see here's one. I've seen this one before. I'll see if you guys can see it. They would put them on enslaved people on plantations and stuff. You notice there's bells on them, which is what we do with cattle. Okay. These are also, you see that they're very, there's these hooks coming out of them that with the bells on them. That's because, if an enslaved person were to try and run away, you could hear them because of the bells. And furthermore, those hook things on the end would get caught in branches and things like that. So these enslaved folks wouldn't be able to run far. Um, it was illegal for enslaved people to read, and the punishment oftentimes was the amputation of your thumbs if you were caught trying to read, because that makes it harder to turn a page. I don't want to go too much into this. I don't want to overly disturb people at this point. Okay, you get what I'm saying here. And by the way, the only way. Thank you, Toya Toya Toya. Thank you. In 2014, Congress passed a law so a school syllabus would cover not only slave trade, but their kingdoms and traditions back. That so? That is why, folks, we need to learn from Brazil. Okay. Brazil, by the way, actually had more slaves than the United States. And also extremely brutal there. And I think we can learn a lot about how Brazil's education system deals with the issue of slavery. Um, that's great. Thank you for telling us, Toy Toy Toy. Thank you for the super chat. Folks, if we get four more, I'll put on the jester hat. Thank you, though, Toy Toy Toy, for that. Yeah, Henry G, there's one with spikes. Absolutely. And guys, again, I don't want you to think I'm doing this to for like shock value. That's why I'm not telling you some of the other stuff that's pretty horrific. But you get my point here, and I think you all understand what I'm saying. This was, and by the way, the only way to maintain a system of slavery is through constant violence, because of course people don't want to be slaves. They are constantly resisting, constantly resisting. And by the way, in some pretty badass ways. There was a story once of a former slave who talked about how I guess the owner, the slave owner, okay, um, an enslaved person actually brought out some food for the owner to eat because that's enslaved person was responsible for feeding the owner. Okay, and after that enslaved person brought out the food, the owner started eating, and then a few minutes later, that the owner started foaming at the mouth and fell down and died. And this guy who wrote this account looked up and saw the enslaved person who had brought the food smirking because badass, right? This I'm sorry, it was a she. She had decided to poison the master, okay? And that those sort of things would happen all the time, okay? So there was constant resistance. I don't want you to think that these folks just passively took it. Um, yeah, yep, Drusilla, okay. Okay, just be aware of that. And Trump is trying to change the history of this. Yeah, there you go, Macy. Got to have the right women in the kitchen, okay, or men, of course, or men. But yes, yes, okay. Whoever wants to be in the kitchen can be in the kitchen. But yes, right. On top of that, there were also lots of mysterious cases of barns on plantations catching on fire. Okay. Anyway, so there was a lot of resistance, but the brutality of this for years, over 400 years of slavery in the United States, constant brutality. Um, yeah. Okay. I just felt I needed to cover that after what I read about Trump. Okay. So, all right, folks. So again, folks, if you're on here now, we get 4 more super chats. I will put on the Jester collar. If you're interested in becoming a member, you'll be able to get that cute little Jester hat next to your name, for as little as 99 cents a month. Click the join button underneath the video on YouTube or on my channel. You can also become a patron for $5 a month. And on a side note, folks, uh, if you want to see a really good movie that is pretty good at showing what slavery was about, I would highly recommend 12 Years a Slave. It is hard to watch. Okay, it is very hard to watch, but I do recommend it. Um, and although I'm a bit annoyed with them including Brad Pitt in there for some reasons, for a few reasons, although he's a real character. I just don't like that they chose the star Brad Pitt. Regardless, recommend seeing it. Make sure you have tissues nearby if you do. But if you really want to know a lot of what slavery was like, I recommend 12 Years a Slave. Okay. Yes, thank you, Alyssa. Please like the stream, folks. We got 19 likes, 26 people viewing. It'll help get more people in here. Um, I would really appreciate it if everyone could like it. It helps me out. Okay. So thank you for that. All right. So, folks, now let's talk a little bit about some of this nonsense in the news that I'm going to lose my mind over today. Okay. So, first thing, Henry G, would you tell me which one? Yeah, you're right, Fox Emblem. I will say, Fox. First of all, Henry G, would you tell me which movie you're referring to? Okay. Okay. Because I don't think I've seen all the movies that talk about slavery in the United States. I don't know if I've seen that one. I would like to know the name, so in case I haven't seen it. Fox Emblem, seen it, and even that movie can only somewhat approach 100% Fox Emblem. I don't want anyone to get to the impression that the movie 12 Years a Slave even gets close to approaching the horror, but it does show you. It is based off the actual account of a former slave. Equiano was his name, and it's very accurate about his story. But there is much more to slavery that, honestly, I don't know if I'd want them to ever make a movie about, because I would view that as sort of um, disrespecting the people who died and suffered. Matt Saigai, thank you for the super chat, Matt Saigai. Medieval India, people from the upper caste place brooms around the necks of people of the lower caste so that the former ones didn't have to walk on the ground. Oh my God. I've heard of stuff like that, Matt Saiga. I did not hear about that. Horrible. That actually would happen too in the antebellum South and stuff. They would literally, folks, I'm not joking, enslaved children would be used as footrests while the white owner of the house was reading or whatever. I mean, and not to mention, folks, I'm not getting into another component to this. There's a sexual component to a lot of this. For the sake of YouTube, I won't talk about it, but you know what I'm going for here. I mean, absolutely disgusting. Henry G. Yeah, Birth of the Nation. Is that the name of the movie? I'll take a look at that. Okay. Okay. Absolutely brutality. Okay, so by the way, folks, do anyone in chat know who the first person to sort of think? Because so when Europeans first came to the New World, it was actually they actually were using the natives as slave labor. Does anyone know who the first person who came up with the idea of using probably Macy, I think the word concubine would be allowed. I feel like that's too nice of a word though. Okay. But yes. Does anyone know who the first person was that came up with the sort of idea and promoted it that black slaves from Africa should be used? Yeah, I totally agree, Rubber Goose. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of Americans are way too sheltered. People need to be shocked about these things. We need to see, as a matter of fact, like in other countries, their TV sources don't a lot of times not blur out or hide reality. Like when you talk about the war in Gaza, if you watch Turkish news, they show the images. Okay, they don't hide anything. Here, we're very sheltered, and I feel like people need a little trauma in order to get things to change. I totally agree. Okay. Um, yeah, I totally agree. Obtuse Rubber Goose. Welcome to love your name by the way. Love welcome to the stream here. Okay. Um. Let's see here. Zach saying we focus too much on how bad slavery was insane. What would be the reaction if someone said we focus too much on how bad the Holocaust was? Oh, oh yeah, yep, yep, yep. I mean, I just don't. It sends shivers down my spine. Literally, I'm getting shivers even thinking about it. Uh. Um. Yeah, I agree, Big Brain. If those kids were old enough to be, uh, yeah, to be schools old enough to learn about it, I agree. Um, yeah, at 100%, Tiago. I think we need people to see reality in America because of our sort of puritanical roots. We like things censored, right? We don't want to see the reality. We want to hide what's actually going on. We want to kind of allude to the violence and stuff. And sometimes, folks, I feel like I do that on stream because of YouTube's rules and stuff. But I want you all to think for yourselves, and I want you, if you can, if you're, I recommend it. Go out there, and look up slavery, look up the horrors of it. Okay. I mean, I'm not covering nearly enough of it while I'm talking about it today. Um, so Tiago, yeah, we should not hide it. I totally agree. And by the way, in Europe, they're sort of more open about, in some places, they're more open about showing images and things like that. What was Thomas Jefferson? Oh, I see. Yes, the question I asked. So, folks, it was not. The person who came up with the idea to use African slaves was Christopher Columbus. So, if there's one more reason you want to hate him, there's another one. Okay, he actually says it in his letters that he literally. I'm not joking. He says in his letters, it's kind of a shame that the natives they unalive too quickly when we use them as slaves because of our diseases. So we really ought to bring people over here that won't unalive as quickly when we're abusing them on plantations. I mean that's gross, right? Complete psycho. Um, so Christopher Columbus again, evil, 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 evil man. Even at the time, folks, he was viewed as an evil, horrible person, and that's saying a lot. So in Central Ohio, there's a city called Columbus, named after Christopher Columbus. There used to be a big statue to Christopher Columbus. They eventually took it down, but there's still a lot of folks who kind of idolize the man. Um, yeah. So Big Braden says. Yeah, of course it's that psycho, Alyssa, and get people don't know about it. And I feel like I'm okay with people getting a little bit traumatized learning about it. They need to, so that we can understand. That also, by the way, helps us understand the position of the African community today in the United States. Okay. I mean, after 400 years of being enslaved, not being able to own any property, not having any property to pass down to their children, followed by segregation, racist terrorism, and all these things, can we see why Black Americans have a disadvantage economically? I mean, it's so obvious. Anyway, okay. Yeah, Drusilla. Yeah, yeah. Please do, Drusilla. Also, let me tell you one last story here. I know I'm kind of getting. I said I would go to the news here, but let me tell you one last story. This is related to slavery, but it kind of goes back to our discussion of like Marxism yesterday. So there was, and what was the name of this rebellion? Early on in American colonial history, there in South Carolina, there was a big rebellion. And we should note, folks, now a lot of right wingers will conflate this, will mess up this idea. There were some white slaves. Now, those white slaves were called indentured servants, and they were not chattel slaves like Africans were. And the idea behind an indentured slave is that they would have to be enslaved for a set amount of time, and then they would be freed to pay off a debt for punishment for some crime, whatever. They would, by the way, they were treated better than chattel slaves, obviously. That being said, there was a rebellion in South Carolina where white indentured servants and black African slaves actually rose up together. And they fought against the owning class. They fought against the slave owners. And what it, before that time, okay, and this sounds strange, but before that rebellion, slavery was not racialized as much. There was not as much talk about black versus white. It was mainly these are the victims of conquest so that we can use them as slaves. All right. Okay. After that rebellion, suddenly the slave owning class starts really harping on the race idea and saying, no, 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 black slaves are inferior, because and white people are superior because they wanted to make sure that the white enslaved and poor did not rise up against them alongside the black slaves. Okay, race partially became a way to divide people so that they would not rise up against the owning class, the slave owners. Who anyone hear that before? Okay. Um, and it worked because they then passed a bunch of laws that kept white people away from black people, literally separate from them, and vice versa, which made it easier for white folks to dehumanize and view black slaves as less than human so that they would not work together against the ruling elite. Okay. Yeah, Fox Emblem, eugenicist capitalism. Ugh, all right. Okay. Anyway, just a little note there. Um, I I can't remember the name of that rebellion. I'll look it up if at some point, folks. And maybe I'll tell you about it. Okay, let's get to the news here again, folks. If we get 3 more super chats, we already have 2. I will put on the jester hat. If we get what? If I get 8 more, I'll put on the jester collar. After that, perhaps I'll put on some makeup. But just something to think about. Henry G, I just found out that Crispus Attucks. Oh, Henry G. Henry G, you're on fire today, okay? Crispus Attucks, who had African and indigenous ancestry, is considered the first person to die in the Boston Massacre. Absolutely, absolutely. Folks, the first person that was killed in the Boston Massacre, in the revolution that sort of sparked the revolution against the British. I mean, it's complicated, but yeah, was a black man, or I should say he was mixed. At the time, he would have been viewed as black, and he was a free black man. And I will say something else people don't know. Yeah, Macy, like how cops isolate people before interrogation. Yeah, okay. Um, thank you for the super chat, Macy. Another thing here is we also don't talk about that during the American Revolution, it was also a massive slave uprising because the British actually promised that any slaves that joined the British side against the colonists would be freed. So a lot of slaves rose up and aided the British in what was sort of an act of rebellion that we should be equally proud of, even though, yes, they sided with the British, but I don't care. I'm all for liberating yourself in any way in any way possible. So there was also a massive slave rebellion that took place during the American Revolution that almost never gets talked about. Okay, so there's a lot of things about slavery that no one learns about, especially when it comes to the American Revolution, because we tend to be hyper focused on what the white colonists were doing. But it's a very complex situation. Okay, all right. Uh, Oh, Toya says, I have a tattoo of a slavery rebellion from Bahia, okay, on my wrist. Surgenek forgive me, I can't pronounce correctly. Show yourselves, don't hide. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that Toya Toya Toya. I'm actually considering getting a tattoo of a guillotine. I think that'd be fantastic. Okay, that is amazing. And again, Brazil, folks, has dealt with this much better than the United States has. Absolutely. We still kind of try and hide it here, especially certain states, red states. Okay. Death died today. Welcome. Hey, it's okay. I woke up kind of late today too. I had to go get to a dental appointment to get my tooth looked at. And I'm kind of tired, but I'll survive, of course. But very glad to see you here. Death died today. Yes, I heart you too, Toya, Toya, Toya. Okay. So folks, again, if we get three more super chats, I will put on the jester hat. Let's talk now a little bit about some more of the news. Um, on the screen here, I believe you can see it is an image of well, I'll put this up here. You'll notice in the live stream, folks. Can I just say that it has been very, I mean, yeah, I don't know why I'm telling all this, you all this, you know this. It was so depressing to try and get caught back up with the news and terrifying. And um Yeah, racism. Racism. Macy, I just called you racism. Anyway, Macy, death think racism is a main pillar of fascism. Okay. It is. There are scenarios where religion is more of a main pillar, though oftentimes religion gets racialized under fascist regimes. Um, that is complicated. I can see scenarios where it wouldn't be based off race because fascism is about dividing people. And you could divide people with something on other than race, but most fascist movements are very racialized. Um, Oh, Fox Emblem, don't even get me started. Okay, don't even get me started. Yeah, okay. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, etc. teach revisionist history on how the Civil War was over states' rights, but don't specify states' rights. Yeah, okay. So, by the way, folks, we when the Confederacy formed right before the Civil War, okay, or during the Civil War, they actually sent representatives to each of the state legislatures in the South, and they wrote speeches that we have all the records of because they were public, because they were given before state bodies. And in these speeches they told the legislatures of southern states why it was that they were beginning the war. They were very clear about it. They actually say, and you can look this up, we need to maintain the dominance of the white man. We need to protect slavery. And they only later on mentioned, yeah, oh, by the way, I mean, there's a states' rights thing here too. Okay, but one of the big reasons they focused on states' rights publicly was because a lot of poor whites in the South did not own slaves. So how can you convince poor people in the South to go fight and die for the Confederacy if it's about slavery? You could convince them, well, this is about states' rights. This is about, your freedom and things like that. And a lot of poor whites in the South went off and died thinking that they were fighting to protect um, uh, uh, the Southern freedom or whatever. Okay. I am not excusing them. Most of them knew that there was a slave society going on. My point is, though, is it was also partially used like that. W, thank you for the super chat. W says, good to see you again, W. W. Hey again, surprise for you. I messaged Mr. B. Oh, W, thank you so much. Folks, please like that. W says, hey again, surprise for you. I messaged Mr. B on Blue Sky about you, and he's going to check you out. I'll send proof when I join the Discord. LOL. Have a good one, W. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for that. You guys are amazing, really. Um, I'm very excited to see that on the Discord. Okay, I love Mr. Beast. Beat. I'm gonna fangirl all over. I'm gonna like if I get to like talk to him or something, I'm gonna fangirl. I might not even be able to get any words out. Oh, Henry G, we're gonna be talking about that. Okay, thank you so much, Debbie. Really, okay, folks. I don't know why I didn't register that, but if we get two more super chats, I'll put on the jester hat. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this news here. Yeah, Fox Emblem, do not get me wrong, okay? The Union was also extremely racist. You can look up the draft riots. You can look up other things. Fox Emblem 1, also the Union was racist, and at the start of the war, and went as motivated to beat the Confederacy. Yeah, they went further south and saw firsthand what chattel slavery. Yeah, a lot of people learned through their service in the war how horrific chattel slavery was. And I will say, one of the most badass group of fighters in the war were former slaves. Okay, look up the Massachusetts Regiment who fought, and they are black. Now they were in segregated units. They always had white officers when they fought for the North, but they were extremely brave. They were often some of the most vicious fighters because they knew what they were fighting for. Okay, when it came to ending slavery. All right. Okay, guys. So let's go on here. So you see up here, I have an article posted. So the Trump administration is sending a group of warships near to Venezuela. I believe they also have something like 4,000 Marines on these warships. Okay. The claim that is being made by the Trump administration is that this is to suppress the drug trade. Um, but I want to point out, folks, uh, there is enough firepower in this. This is why. So in the title of this stream, I put that Trump sends a Death Star. These warships have like enough firepower to level the country of Venezuela. Okay, and Venezuela announced today they're mobilizing their militias um, because they're afraid of invasion. I wonder why. Um, and he's claiming it's to combat drug cartels. The warships, the USS Sampson, USS Jason Dunham, and USS Gravely, are Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, the backbone of the Navy's surface fleet, known for their versatility and advanced combat systems. These ships are designed to counter threats from air, land, and sea, and even undersea simultaneously. Their arrival adds a potent mix of firepower, surveillance, and flexibility to a region increasingly viewed by the Trump administration as a corridor for narcotics, smuggling, and transnational crime. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Tiago, I love that. Yeah, Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, somewhat of a dictator there. Now, it is funny though that the United States is always going after Maduro. Okay, so let me give you a little history here, folks. I can't help myself. Someone in the chat mentioned oil. They sent three. They absolutely did. They sent three. I mean, that is enough firepower. That's like a that's like a star destroyer. Yeah, at 100%. There were three of them. These are very powerful warships. They're like I said, they're like star destroyers or like from Star Wars. They can level a whole country if they wanted to. So you can't tell me that that's just about drug smuggling. And let me point out, folks, we have a very complicated history with Venezuela. Remember how I said when we were doing the Russian geopolitics stream that a lot of times the countries we don't get along with are the ones which we don't have full control. We don't are the ones that have some degree of independence. Okay, Venezuela is one of those countries. On top of that, Venezuela has a lot of oil. Now, as soon as I tell you that, that should send up red flags. Okay. Uh, if you remember me telling you, one of the reasons, so the United States actually overthrew a democratically elected government in Iran and installed a dictator because that democratically elected government attempted to nationalize their oil, which meant they tried to take their own oil and give it to their own people. Okay. I don't see what the problem with that is, of course. So, the same thing with partially with like Saddam Hussein. There's a lot of incidents of this where we overthrow government because their government tries to kicks out our corporations or European corporations and then tries to own their own resources. Um, Venezuela did that a while back in the 1970s. They nationalized their oil industry and kicked out all the corporations who were extracting it. Okay, ever since then, we've never seemed to get along with them. Hmm. I wonder why. And on top of that, we have continuously sanctioned Venezuela. Yep, Hugo Chavez. Okay. Yeah, banana. That's one of the reasons why banana prices are always so low, folks, is because we literally launched a war to protect the banana industry when a government took over. What was it? I'm having a mind blank. Was it Guatemala? Yeah, Guatemala. I'm not even joking. We overthrew a government there because United Fruit Farmers, the United Fruit industry wanted to make sure the government didn't Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Here comes the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Winterlinde. Okay. Uh, they do. So, Tiago, they don't have that many sanctions compared to like Russia, but there are sanctions on Venezuela still. Um, and now I will say I am oversimplifying this. There absolutely have been, absolutely, Tiago. I will. You know what? Let me just so you folks don't know I'm making this up. Let me just put up here on the screen. Um, this is where the term "banana republic" comes from. Uh, uh, Let me see if I can find here the name of the. Here we go. The United Fruit Company. Let me find it here. So I just want to show you all. Here we go. Honduras. Okay. So yeah. Yep. Okay. So this was in Honduras. I said Guatemala. My apologies. But we oh wait, no, it was actually Guatemala. Okay, never mind. So during the I'll just read this to you. During the 1950s, and I know this is Wikipedia, so don't fully trust this, but I can promise you, if there's anything wrong there, I will tell you. Uh, okay, absolutely okay. During the 1950s, the United Fruit Company sought to convince the governments of U.S. President Harry S. Truman, which, by the way, if Dubois is still in chat, well, I don't know if he asked me about Truman. Never mind. Okay, no, he asked me about Wilson. Never mind. Okay, President Harry S. Truman and Dwight Eisenhower sought to convince them that the popular elected government of President Jacobo Arbenz of Guatemala was secretly pro-Soviet for having expropriated unused fruit company lands and given them to landless peasants. They were literally they literally took land from the fruit company that the fruit company wasn't even using and divided it amongst the poor. I'm going to repeat that again. Guatemala was taking unused lands, unused, from the United Fruit Company, and then dividing it amongst the poor. Okay. Um, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misgender you, Dubois? My apologies. Okay. Uh, okay. And so they convinced the government basically. Okay. That that they needed to overthrow the government of Guatemala so that the fruit company could keep its unused lands. And so that's right, they ordered something called Operation Success, where they launched a coup d'état against the democratically elected government of Arbenz, which the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, where they deposed the democratically elected government of Arbenz and installed the pro-business government of Colonel Carlos Castillo Armas. And he was brutal. And by the way, later governments, because of that, launched genocides against native peoples and stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, Dubois. I apologize. Okay, I apologize. Okay. Yep. So again, God bless America, right? Anyway, so that happened. We did the similar thing in Cuba. Bay of Pigs tried to knock out that government because they were too disobedient to us. All right. And sometime I'll do a stream where I talk about the Monroe Doctrine. Um, yeah. Yeah, folks, please on the yeah, thank you, Tiago. So I think I've seen Wendigoon's discussion of Operation Success. That is a very good video. Watch his videos. I like him a lot. Um please do. Okay. So anyway, so do we think so what's happening now with Venezuela? It's kind of hard to tell. It just seems like intimidation, attempting to re-put Venezuela back into America's sphere of influence because they do have a degree of independence. I will say I am oversimplifying. Some of the leaders of Venezuela have not been the best to their people. Again, though, doesn't defend what the United States does, and by the way, government of the U.S. not best to its people. Yeah, okay. And a lot of the struggles that Venezuela has had is because of the United States, which has led to some of the internal issues they have anyway. Okay, so that's happening. I guess we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully, we don't have a war break out because little Kim Jong Trump decides to attack a country. with this star destroying fleet. Okay. So that's happening. And I haven't actually seen it talked about much, which is hilarious to me. I mean, it's not hilarious, it's disturbing, but there's so much going on in the news, like the media doesn't seem to be covering this. And by the way, folks, if you're worried about the tax dollars, it's a very expensive. Okay. If we only care about the amount of money this costs, okay. Macy, I could do that. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. I will make a Word doc that has a table of contents for what the topics we've already covered are and topics I'll do in the future. That's a great idea, Macy. I'll do that. Okay. All right, folks. Again, if we get two more super chats, I'll put on the Jester hat. For those that are watching, and would like to make a comment, you can please you can click the subscribe button. In 5 minutes, you'll be able to make a comment. You can also join on Patreon if you'd like to support the channel for $5 a month. And yeah. Okay, you get yeah. I could make you guys a syllabus. Okay, honest question, folks. I was considering literally. This is my inner teacher coming out, making a vocab a vocab channel on the Discord with vocab words, like things I use a lot and stuff. Would that be too condescending if I did that? But like words like Marxism and words like some of the things we've talked about in class on the stream. I think it might be helpful for people who haven't seen the streams before, so they kind of know when I use those words what I'm referring to. Okay. All right. So just know that that's happening. Now we get to the unadulterated fascism going on. Not that it wasn't unadulterated already. Texas, 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 Texas. Okay. I need to smoke before I talk about this. Okay. So I'm sure many of you have heard about this. So of course the fascist pigs in Texas, the Republicans are trying to redistrict and stuff to kick more people off the rolls, make them, I mean, not kick them off the rolls, but make it a less democratic state so that Republicans can win more seats. And we talked previously about how the Democrats, yeah, exactly, Big Braden. By the way, folks, yeah, you're right. There was also a coup against Salvador Allende in Chile. There were a lot of those. Thank you, Tiago. Thank you for the super chat, Tiago. Tiago says, I will donate more if I see the video about the Banana Republic. Sell yourself. Sell, okay? Oh, guys, thank you very much. Um, uh, yeah, okay, guys, thank you. Okay, so that's enough for the hat. I'll put on the hat. Tiago, I will sell myself. I will do anything to sell myself. Anything. No, I'm kidding. I maybe not anything. Maybe an OnlyFans. But thank you, Tiago. Yes, I will do that video. Um, Dubois. 2000 said thank you. Thank you, Dubois. Dubois says, "Don't you love my profile picture on Discord? Just Karl Marx with a joint." Yeah, I love that, Dubois. Okay, laughing my ass off. I never answered you in the chat, but yes, I am a lefty. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Dubois. Glad to hear that. Yes, and I think we all saw. I think a lot of the folks in here saw your profile picture, and I gotta love it. Especially the right. Literally, it was perfect timing. The day after I did the Marxism stream. Okay, all right. So let's go on now, folks. Uh, so again. In Texas, the Democrats basically left the state because in order for you to do work in the legislature and a lot of places, you need to have a quorum, which means a certain number of members need to be present to pass a bill. Oh, I'm sorry. Hat, 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 hat. Oh, that's better. We're going to need this hat for what we're going to talk about. There we go. There we go. And by the way, folks, if you want an emoji, if you want to use this cute little emoji of me with the hat, it's right there. I'll put it in the chat. If you become a member, you can use that emoji. Okay, there you go. Anyway, more self promotion per Tiago's request. Okay, there we go. Okay, now they left the state and they started coming back out of necessity. I mean, you have to understand, folks. Uh, I kind of was hard on them when I said they were coming back. I will say in Texas, state legislators are only paid like what $10,000 a year. Most of them have second jobs and stuff. So part of this, there's an economic incentive for them to have to return because they might need to survive. Now, a lot of them probably have enough money to survive without it, but without being too hard on them for that, they did come back. And this is what the Republican controlled legislature did. Okay. They demanded that all the Democrats have to stay in the legislature. They're not allowed to leave unless they are under police escort. And furthermore, they have to sign these permission slips and take it with them wherever they go. Okay. To when if they were to dare leave the legislature again. Um, okay. Now, yeah. Uh, yep. Yep, correct, Alyssa. They really couldn't stop it. I think I may have been too hard on them before. And so I want you to think about that. Okay. I mentioned in the stream title that they're kidnapped. That is legally a kidnapping. You cannot forcibly make someone stay in a location without their consent under threat of like the police following you around. And they're getting away with all this. And there have been a few members. We can just watch this video perhaps, and we can see because I have a couple of the videos up here. We'll watch. Let's see here. Where's the one I found here? It's oh no, it's Kyle Kalinske. All right, let me find the one. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, I should have watched that video too. We'll get back to that one. But okay, let me find the. Here we go. I think I actually found a better one before. Let me see if I can find it again. Video about this real fast from CNN. And that is Fascism 101. And by the way, folks, do we think that having a, yeah, for 3 weeks, do we think people that having a policeman follow around a democratically elected member of a legislature might have an intimidation effect? I mean, there's almost certainly more to this than just, keeping them around. That is intimidating, obviously. That is political. That's almost a form of terrorism. It's not like violent terrorism, but okay. So I'm going to put, I'm just sorry. I have to reset the super chat. Forgive me while I do that real fast. The next super chat, if we get 5 more, I will put on the Jester collar, of course. Remove goal. Come on. No, it's not letting me do it for some reason. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page 1 second here. Yeah, exactly. It's a chilling effect. Absolutely, a chilling effect. And that is like very much a fascist sort of staple. You do things that have a chilling effect. There we go. For example, the Nazis would have, these wandering bands of paramilitaries who would beat up people and including politicians and stuff. They even assassinated one politician who was very popular. And now you have police following these legislators around. And having them have permission slips like they're children. Um, okay, Jester collar. There we go. Okay. So again, if we get that 5, we'll do that. All right. Yeah, I know. And I was going to mention that obtuse rubber goose. Now, folks, I am not an advocate of violence. Let me just say that for the sake of being online. But those legislators should not have signed. And again, I'm not fully blaming them. They have a lot of economic pressures on them, and I know I might be being too nice. But they should have just pushed through and left the building. I mean, that would have been a good way to show strength, okay? Been like, "Nope, we're leaving." And yeah, there may have been a bit of a tussle or something, but that would attract attention. That would really have highlighted the brutality and the fascist nature of the Trump administration, okay? And I don't think any of them should have signed those documents. They should have literally pushed through, and I would bet that at least would probably make it go to court. And there are many judges, not all of them, who would likely side with those legislators. But of course, they didn't do that. And there are a few who are refusing to leave. Okay. Um, yeah, there you go. Stand your ground, right? So the Hitler Jugend, 100% Fox emblem. This is extremely fascist behavior. Okay. And so I wish they would have actually taken some action there. Like, what would the Republicans do? Would they have been willing to use public force on camera against elected state legislatures? Maybe. And if they did, that would have been caught on camera. And that would have been wonderful, wonderful thing for people to see. That would have been a great sort of ad. Not an ad, but that would have been a great way thing to display for the country. Now, so I am a little disappointed. Um, okay, so I'm going to find that video again real fast here. I really want you guys to see it. Just kind of talking about this, there are a couple legislators that are refusing to leave the building, which to me doesn't do much because they're still in the building. And I think they are, well, let's see here, CNN, Texas. Here we go. So we'll watch this real fast. It's very brief. 1 second. Okay. By the way, a movie I'd like to recommend to everyone, and you're going to see why I'm referring to it if you have seen it, is Don't Look Up. Has anyone in chat seen Don't Look Up? Just let me know if you have. I love that movie. Absolutely love that movie. It's a bit heavy-handed, but I really love it. So let me quickly fix this real fast. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's watch this together. This is a CNN clip. I'm gonna speed it up a bit. I mentioned Don't Look Up. You'll see why here in a second. Okay, we'll do 1.5 speed. All right, let me see what people are saying in chat, and then I will start the video. Yeah, okay. Do we all like that movie? I love that movie. It's so funny. But something in Don't Look Up is how they talk about how like the big media companies and stuff love really soft and cute. Alyssa, you have to see it, okay? You're not allowed back in chat until you see it, and I know for a fact you, Alyssa, will like it, okay? Yeah, okay, okay, DiCaprio, yeah, he was, okay. I highly recommend it, Alyssa. I highly recommend everyone watch it. I think it's on Netflix or something, but it's a really funny movie, and especially all of you will deeply understand the humor in it. Um, so, and I will say, so in that movie, they present like they make fun of how like the mainstream media is loves like being overly happy on camera and like talking about things in a friendly way and trying to keep the conversation light. Like if you watch morning shows and stuff, they're always trying to keep the conversation light and oh, everything's so great, everything's so great. Okay. And I have seen this clip and yeah, and this is honestly I think this clip is partly an example of this. I might be nitpicking here, but while you're listening, just look at the facial expressions on these two hosts. I mean, they're talking about fascist authoritarian thing that's happening here, and yet they're kind of like being smiley and cute about it. It just drives me insane. Regardless, let's get into the video.
Plan. Well, Pamela, there really is not much. Lawmakers are back in Texas, but Representative Nicole Collier spent the night on the floor of the state house. She refused a Republican demand to have a state law enforcement officer escort her around the clock in order to leave the Capitol grounds.
I refuse to sign the permission slip to be able to leave the Capitol. I disagree with that authoritarian tactic.
Two other Democrats joined her in the House overnight. Republicans now appear to have a clear path to a redistricting plan that could bring them 5 more seats in Congress. And in less than 2 hours from now, California's House will reconvene after it began a redistricting plan.
Now, again, we haven't really seen fully what I'm talking about yet, but can you kind of see, like, now you haven't seen the real cutesy stuff yet, but I'm glad that legislator was like, yeah, this is authoritarian, but the tone and stuff is off. Okay, this is not something that is just like a cutesy news story. This is outright fascism. This is like intimidating lawmakers when you don't get your way, like a big baby. Okay, so let's continue.
Of its own. Let's go live now to CNN correspondent Arlette Saenz in Austin. Arlette, do the Democrats have any moves left to block or delay the Republican plan? Well, Pamela, there really is not much that Democrats can do at this moment to block these new congressional maps from moving forward in Texas. They used up their ability to delay the proceedings when they had that quorum break. But now, with the necessary Democrats returning to the Capitol, this map appears to be on a glide path to passage potentially as soon as this week. Now, just down the hall from where we are is the House chamber, where
Now, again, folks, you notice she said there's not much Democrats can do. I just told you something Democrats could do, but mainstream media loves civility politics, so they would never mention, well, the Democrats, they could try to get out of that. They could try to get out of the building. That would never happen. Okay.
State Representative Nicole Collier is having this sign of protest by refusing to comply with the order that would require these House Democrats to have 24/7 law enforcement escorts if they are to leave at the Capitol. She's been on the House floor for nearly 21 hours at this point, saying that she won't agree to that order.
Now, I will say that is a cute little political maneuver to kind of attract all this attention to yourself by doing this, but it doesn't do anything. She's still in the legislature, and I mean, I get what she's trying to do, but what did I just say would be a better method here? Okay, she's actually doing what the Republicans want, right? They don't want the people to leave the House. She's staying there. I'm not going after. I'm not specifically going after her. I appreciate that she's trying to at least send a message, but there's more. Yeah, I know. How is she smirking through this, Alyssa? I don't know. Um,
But even as there's this sign of protest, it's not going to change the calculus about these maps here in Texas. What Texas Democrats say they're now going to do is turn their attention to making the legal arguments, so with the hope that the courts will eventually step in and prevent these congressional maps from going into effect. Of course, just to recap, Republicans are trying to pick up as many as 5 U.S. House seats by redrawing these maps. And they could be considered on the House floor as soon as tomorrow. We will get a little bit more guidance on that in the coming hours. Meanwhile, over in California, the committees will begin meeting to consider their congressional map push to try to pick up 5 Democratic House seats, and that could.
by the way, I also hate. There's something called the what is it called? It's a logical fallacy, and it's called. I guess some people call it. Well, what was the word here? False equivalence. Okay, false equivalence. Uh, false equivalence. Yeah, thank you, Elliot. Yeah, pickup is a fun way to stay blatantly steal. I agree. Okay. There's something called false equivalence. And a lot of times on mainstream news sources, you will see them give what they call both sides. Okay. They'll be like, well, the Republicans are doing this in Texas. And then, well, but the Democrats are doing this in California. Now, although that's true, very different circumstances. Can we see that? I mean, they are literally holding hostage or trying to hold hostage or doing this authoritarian monitoring of Democrats trying to leave the Texas House. While in California, they're actually having, as Long Beach Dragon indicated, they're going to be having a vote on it, like a referendum vote type thing on it. So false equivalence, they're not the same thing. I don't know if everyone remembers, like back in the day, they used to, on some of these mainstream news sources, they used to have like, oh, here is the person that says that climate change is an issue, and here's the person that says it isn't an issue, which makes it appear as though both sides have a similar reliability, a similar that it's an equal sides thing, even though one side has an astoundingly large amount of evidence and the other side has none. I get sick of the false equivalence. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting off track here. Let's continue.
Potentially pass by the end of this week. In California, though, the voters will eventually have to weigh in to approve this. So a lot at stake in this moment in both Texas and California and the nation at large when you think about the potential makeup of the U.S. House if these maps are able to go into effect. All right, Arlette Saenz, thanks so much.
Okay. So there that was, okay? So again, authoritarian takeover, very fascist attempts here. The Democrats are once again kind of sluggish. I do appreciate that some of them are doing something, I guess, but there's much more they could do. In the perfect world, they would be actually trying to get out. They would all go in there together and then all try to get out together, make sure plenty of cameras are around. Yeah, exactly. They're given equal credibility or equal weight, right? The fact that, they're doing it in California. Of course, they're doing it in California in response to Texas. So again, that's called false equivalence. It drives me crazy. All right. All right. So that is one of the horrors happening in this country, amongst many. That this is sort of this is happening, and there's so much news and stuff. It's being talked about, but it's not being given the weight it needs to be given. So just something to think about. On a side note, someone, I think it was Big Braden, mentioned earlier, made a kind of a jokey comment about Texas. I'm going to make a historian's remark here. I've been to Texas. It's a beautiful state. Great, great, great food there. I like steak and stuff. But does anyone know? So Texas used to be an independent country. Okay, it literally did for a while. It was the Republic of Texas, and then ended up joining the United States. It declared war against Mexico and sought its independence. Now, does anyone know? Does anyone know why Texas attempted to gain independence from Mexico? If someone writes it in chat, please do. In the meantime, if we get one more, four more super chats, I will put on the jester collar. Okay. Nope, Macy. That was an effect of them breaking off. But why did they break off from Mexico? Okay. Again, folks, if you like what you're watching and you want to make a comment, you can subscribe to my channel. 100% Dubois. 100%. Thank you. Slavery. The Mexican government was attempting to end slavery, and Texas was like, no, we would rather be independent so we can keep our slaves. Now, Meow Zord, that actually is part of it. I'm oversimplifying. There was an issue with selling horses and stuff, but the big issue was slavery. Texas wanted independence so it could keep its slaves. And then it was later added to the United States as a slave state. So just know that Texas, the history there is very, very dark. Okay, very, very, very dark. And as a matter of fact, okay, Juneteenth is the celebration because Texas was the last state where slavery was officially ended. I mean, I think there might be some places where it's still legal on the books, but it's illegal. But Juneteenth celebrates the day when federal troops actually went into Texas to end slavery because it was the last states that they got to. Texas has a long history of this kind of nonsense, being authoritarian, being pro-slavery. I mean, the basis of their independence, it was about slavery. Okay, so I'm not terribly surprised. There's been a lot of other issues in Texas as well, but just a little fun side note there. Okay. Okay. Oh, Big Braden, you are 100% right. Big Braden says, I pissed off a coworker once by saying, yes, Texas. Thank you, Long Beach Dragon. The state where guns have more rights than women do. Folks, by the way, one of the reason, and again, I keep talking about slavery today just to show you how important it is given Trump's nonsense. Um, one of the reasons why a lot of white folks, especially in the South, think it's important to own guns has to do with slavery. You can guess why. Slave rebellions. Okay. Especially a lot of the states in the South that are very pro-gun. There's a reason why they're particularly pro-gun compared to some northern states, though admittedly lots of states are pro-gun. It's because there's a tradition there of there needing to be white slave-catching militias that have guns in case black people were to get guns. And it kind of is a giveaway because you can imagine that if there was a black person walking down the street somewhere in Texas with a gun, what do we think how people would react? They'd be terrified, right? But they love the idea of white people with guns. Okay. Anyway, um, just something to think about. Okay. Oh, speaking of that, in California, the Black Panther Party during the Reagan era, before the Reagan era, when he was governor of California, let me put something. Okay, so okay, so the Black Panther Party, which were basically a black rights group, that's more complicated than that. But they would go around with guns and they would police the police. They would literally follow around the police departments and things like that with guns to protect any people of color if the police started abusing them. Now, Reagan, the right wing Reagan, okay, was the governor of Texas at the time. Do we think he'd be pro-gun or anti-gun? Well, he was definitely pro-gun, and then suddenly that happened, and California became one of the first states to pass gun control under Reagan. Because one thing you can't have is black people with guns, right? Now that's a bit much. Okay, I mean, so a lot of the gun stuff is surrounding white people's fear of black slave uprisings. That's just a historical fact. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Macy. Macy says, if they like slavery so much, why is no one applying? Right? Yeah. Hey, if they like slavery so much, they should become chattel slaves. Okay. All right. So there's another side note there for you folks. If we get 3 more super chats, I'll put on the caller. Thank you again, Macy, as always, for your super chats. Okay. All right. Let's get on to the next story now. So that's another one of the horrors happening right now in this country. Months many. Let's continue. The next story I wanted to sort of talk about here. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah. So, I did want to mention this. Now, I don't have a source for this right now. Someone actually, I believe it was Alan. It was either Alan or Fox Emblem who or maybe I don't know. It was someone like that who in the Discord mentioned how a recent, yeah, well, correct. Fox Emblem. Fox Emblem says, I am pro gun for the proletariat. They are pro gun for racism. We are not the same, 100%. And there are other arguments on the other side for why, for example, the working class should probably be armed. And I do, maybe because I'm American, I have a slight soft spot in my heart regarding needing to be armed in case the government becomes overly oppressive. We've definitely reached that point. Regardless, the reason why some of those states are so pro-slavery has nothing to do with that. It has to do with them. I'm sorry, pro-gun. It has to do, well, also maybe pro-slavery is because of their fear of black slave uprisings. Okay, all right. So I did see an article. Someone put it in Discord. I think it was Alan mentioning how a new report came out that shows that there's been the number of bankruptcies of companies is massively increasing in the U.S. Not a good sign. That could indicate an economy on the verge of collapse, which I would not be surprised of. Yeah, you're right, Tiago. There's a massive gun lobby in the U.S. A lot of bribery going on to keep guns a thing. And by the way, American guns, folks, don't only hurt America; they hurt countries all around us because our guns end up in the hands of, for example, cartels, which we then like to complain about, or at least, I'm sorry, like the politicians like to complain about, even though we don't do anything about the gun laws that allow the cartels to get the guns. So, like, there's a lot of issues here. We export our gun problems, literally. Like, our gun problems cause gun problems elsewhere. Yeah, I remember, Tiago. I remember you bribed me. Don't worry. I will do a video on Operation Success sometime. Um, well, thank you, Alan. It absolutely does. Yep. Big Braden. So first, Alan says there's a reason mass shootings have become commonplace here. It might have something to do with the guns. Yep. Okay. Big Braden says illegal guns getting into Canada from America is an issue with gangs in cities like Toronto. Exactly. Our dear friend here, Big Braden from Canada, stating facts. Okay. Again, we have such a problem with guns here that it gets exported to other countries. Okay. Yeah, all right. Anyway, okay. Um, Fox Emblem says, I should add that I am pro regulation. I think the proles having the means of uprising is important. 100% agree, Fox Emblem. 100% agree. But I agree with regulations as well. Yep, I agree, Tiago. We should learn from Europe, but we never will. I mean, okay, hopefully we will at some point. But yeah, I agree with you. Okay. All right, folks, please, if you have not liked the stream, do so. We have 20 viewers right now. I would like to get more in here if possible. So go ahead and do that if you don't mind, if you haven't already. Uh, yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, okay. I do. So, I just want to also mention that fact about the economic data, which shows that we might be heading towards a recession. This would not be surprising, folks, with the tariffs like that go on and off and on and off. Not to mention us abducting and throwing into concentration camps a bunch of farm laborers, which is affecting the agricultural sector. Not to mention tons of other things that I'm sure you all know that are pretty much destroying the American economy. And almost always, if the economy collapses, who gets hurt? It's not the ultra wealthy; they get hurt a tiny bit, but it's the rest of us who really get hurt. But I'm going to give you that there is a view, okay, among some political scientists. It's something called accelerationism. If the economy does collapse, it might be a blessing in disguise. I know that's a hot take. That's a hot take. That's true, Fox. I mean, we kind of already are in a recession. I should say if we get into a more visible recession that actually gets talked about. So there is a view that it's weird for me to try to give you all hope about a recession, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. Of course, it could be bad too. Oftentimes during a recession, okay, you see a lot of pushback against the government, so that's a good thing. Also, you might see a bunch more people turning to the left, okay? Now then, it could also supercharge the fascist right, but it might be, I can't believe I'm saying this, a good thing politically for that to happen, especially under Trump. I don't blame you. Death died today. I am not a fan of accelerationism. I'd rather want it be a crash, but I'm just trying to give a little bit of hope here. Historically, too, it is possible. It is possible. It could have a beneficial thing, but yeah. And also, a death died today. There is a different. So the acceleration is there's a different kind of accelerationism, which is when lefties hope that bad things happen, right? So that it'll radicalize people faster. I am not in that camp. I'm really referring to what political scientists say, that when bad events do happen, it can accelerate change. But I understand. Okay. Regardless, not good for us, not good for the United States, not good for the world if there were to be a recession. Uh, okay. Anyway, okay. Yeah, toy. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Fox Emblem. Not for accelerationism unless we are in extenuating circumstances. Again, I am also not pro-accelerationism. I am mainly referring to the political science idea that events like that can cause acceleration. I don't want to promote catastrophes that cause acceleration. That is actually true, Elliot Waffles. If when there's a recession, the cult will likely just blame Biden. Oh my God. You're right. Okay. So that I just wanted to talk to you all about that a bit. Tiago, how dare you? We're not a cult. Okay. All right, guys. So that was one more thing I just wanted to talk about with all you. Now I'm going to go to a slightly lighter topic here. You please forgive me. I need a little lightness, just briefly. Okay, I know I literally just criticized the media for being light. While I was searching for videos about what's happening in Nevada right now, there's some interesting stuff happening in Nevada. I found this video, and I just wanted to show it to all of you as sort of a palate cleanser. Okay, okay, I thought you all find it amusing. Maybe it'll make us laugh a little bit, but it is just a palate cleanser before we get to some more tough stuff. It is impossible to think well if you're overly stressed. That is a fact of biology. When you're anxious and you're stressed, your prefrontal cortex has trouble firing. So here's just a little something that might help, is kind of as a palate cleanser between what we're talking about here. Okay. I accidentally stumbled upon this. Let's have a watch.
Around 10 a.m., the Norfolk Police Division responded to a call of a man driving eastbound on 275 with a Watusi bowl in his passenger seat.
The officers received a call reference a car driving into town that had a cow in it. They thought that it was going to be, like a calf, something smaller, something that actually fit inside the vehicle.
And the vehicle was big enough. Well, technically.
As a result, the officer performed a traffic stop and addressed some traffic violations that were occurring with that particular situation.
The occupant of the vehicle was identified as Lee Meyer of Neely. The Watusi bull's name was Howdy Doody. He was immediately pulled over by Norfolk police, and they performed a routine traffic stop.
Is it just me, or do animals always make everything better? Yeah, right. This guys, you remember this? Okay, animals always make everything better. I'm suddenly forgetting we're in a fascist state. That's lovely for a moment, folks. Hey, we all need it a little bit. Okay, that cow's adorable. Look closely at the side of the car, folks. You will see that the cow didn't really have a means to do its biological function, and the car is kind of dirty. Take a look.
The officer wrote him some warnings. There were some citable issues with that situation. The officer chose to write him a warning and ask him to take the animal back home and to leave the city.
Meyer and Howdy Doody are on their way back home, and no one was hurt.
Thanks for watching.
I just thought that was kind of cute. Okay, back to the serious stuff, but I want to go back real fast to a scene here. I don't know if you all saw it. Look at the side of the car. I mean, I don't know what the guy was thinking doing this, especially with what is on the side of the car. I mean, see if I can find it. Just look what's on the side of the car really fast.
The Watusi bull's name was Howdy Doody. He was immediately pulled over by Norfolk police, and they performed a routine traffic stop.
The officer wrote him some warnings.
Okay, so look back here. Do we see this? Look near the back of the car. You see all that over the car? That is a bunch of done. Okay, just can you imagine going down the road? Yeah, the duty part, Winterlinde, is kind of funny here. That cow was spraying the side of that car while they were driving. Can you imagine driving down the road and seeing a cow taking a dump on the side of this car? Anyway, okay, okay, I promise I'll stop now. Just a little palate cleanser there. Again, folks, if we get 3 more, right, you can't smell it when you get used to smelling feedlots. I believe it, right? So if we get 2 more super chats, I think we're at, no, how many are we at? I think we're at, if we get 3 more super chats, I will put on the jester hat. Okay, go gadget cow done. Yes. Okay. Actually, I did a Power Ranger sound there. Anyway, absolutely. Okay. Anyway, so there's a little palate cleanser. It'd be funnier if there was if Trump's face was on the side of that car. Regardless, there you go. Okay. Just a moment there of slight amusement. Okay. Let's I need this today. Hopefully, you all don't hate me for that. Okay. All right. Let me take a drink of my tea here. I'm going to go to face, and then we will decide what I'm going to react to. Okay, I'm going to try and watch something I haven't seen before. Hamina, I couldn't agree with you more. This is America in a nutshell. Though, if Toya is still in chat, I don't mean to pick on Toya, but I'm sure Toya would agree that this is kind of a Brazilian thing too. If you guys see a lot of the video from Brazil, Brazil has a lot of things like this too. It could be Ireland, that's true, but this is sort of American, isn't it? All right. Okay, let me go back to face screen here, and then we can decide what we'll do next. I have some ideas, some great ideas in Discord. Let me do this fast. Okay. Let's do face screen. Okay. Hello, folks. Today we're having some Earl Grey. If anyone likes Earl Grey, like Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek. Okay. All right. Everyone hydrated, stay hydrated. Okay. People don't drink enough water. Everyone make sure you are drinking enough water. We need a lot more water than we tend to think so. Okay. So I had some suggestions on Discord regarding what to react to. So I'm not going to pull up Discord like I did the one time, but I'm going to go into Discord. I'm going to look at what we've got here, and then I will see which one. Bye-bye, Big Braden. Let's take a look here. All right, Discord. So I saw some really great suggestions here. I'm going to react to one of these. Okay, we got South Korea, which is really interesting. That is a very dark form of capitalism happening there. Let's take a look. Yeah, they do own everything. Trump's secret crypto empire. That is fascinating. That actually might be something. MSNBC talk about making life affordable. Oh, you know what? Let's do that one first. This one will probably be shorter. So, okay, we'll do this. I'll show you what it is. We'll see. And then we can watch some of the other stuff too that's on there. But we'll start with this. Now, I will say, okay, let me put this up on the screen for everyone. I am not a fan of Morning Joe. I'm sure you can tell, folks. I'm not a fan of MSNBC, Microsoft TV. Literally, that's where the M means in MSNBC. That being said, let's watch this video. This I haven't seen this. It says talk about life making more affordable, avoid Trump, focus on economy, says Joe. Now, if that's what Joe actually says, I'd be shocked because he is a not a great guy in terms of what he does. But let me see. Let's watch this together. We'll see what it's about. Switch the view here. Okay, so I was asked to react to this. I think it was Macy. Thank you, Macy, for this recommendation. There are a couple other ones on there we can react to, but let's watch this first. God help us, since it's MSNBC.
So it's a 1-2 punch, and I want Democrats. If you think about running for something and you want to win, this is what you do: you diffuse the issues, right? So
I'm going to actually speed it up a bit so we don't get copyrighted here. Okay, there we go. Let's go.
They talk about the southern border. Yeah, I agree. Too many people came in illegally. Totally agree. That's why we lost all the counties along the southern border. That's why they all shifted and went from blue to red. We totally get that. And yeah, it's good. The southern border is real, but we can be humane at the same time. So check, that's checked off. Then you go to a trans issue. The Democrats just didn't want to talk about, despite the fact that 85% of Americans did not want men who transitioned after puberty competing against young women, young girls, right?
See this. Okay, I'm already annoyed here. He's doing the scapegoating. Why are we? I am not saying trans issues aren't important, but why are we buying into the narrative of talking about such a small issue, small issue that is basically a scapegoating method. Okay. It's just demonizing trans people. It's just making them appear less human in the eyes of people to talk about them in this way. Joe, okay, let's continue.
It's like, of course, we understand why 85% of people are against that. And no, we don't think that's fair. We're for fairness, but we're also for compassion. Let's figure out what we can do here that's fair to young women, fair to young girls. Shaq, you get.
Okay. What about the compassion for trans people? What? The very fact that this keeps getting talked about is very uncompassionate towards trans people, okay? For those who don't know, the trans community has one of the highest rates of I don't know if I can say this on stream I'm sorry, this is going to sound like I'm dismissing it. Self-unaliving, you know what I mean? And so the very fact that this is the discourse going around trans people is not helping that situation, okay? He's claiming that, yeah, we're doing this to protect young girls, thus implying that trans people are somehow harming young girls. So, I mean, which, by the way, has a long history in this country of conflating being LGBTQ with being a predator against children. I mean, okay, let's see what other. All right. Let's go.
Get that off. And then you turn and pivot, John Lemire, to the issue that I think at the end of the day, we were all lectured after the election. Beat Democrats. And that was affordability. Yes. That was inflation. You have to do two things, though. It's very simple. You defuse these issues over here that are like the wedge issues that Republicans always use. And then you turn to affordability. Okay, I agree with you on that. But you're only talking about that because you don't want people to talk about the price of their groceries. You don't want people to talk about the price of their health care. You don't want to talk about the fact that they can't pay their health insurance. You want to talk about how
So he's largely right here. Especially the Republicans don't talk about the economic issues because they will lose on that because they have bad on that. And so they try to focus on issues that are, a completely minor side scapegoating issues. All right, but okay. Though I would have very much preferred he didn't speak to us to us in that way in the beginning, criticizing us for caring about the rights of trans people and immigrants. But hey, the elitism here is showing. But let's continue. And Macy, I believe you. I'm sure he talks more about the other stuff, and we'll see.
Deductibles continue to skyrocket. And people can't afford to take care of their children. People can't afford to pay their rent. There are people in their 30s and their 40s that can't afford to buy their first home. Of course, you want to talk about issues over here. You would much rather talk about the southern border than what's happening in your neighborhoods, in your district. I'm with you on the southern border. Now let's talk about your neighborhoods and why people in their 30s and their 40s are struggling to make ends meet. What have Republicans done? You're sending guys around in trench coats in New York City in the middle of summer. You're attacking the NIH. You're attacking vaccines that President Trump actually was a champion of. Like, you're trying to do everything to distract the American people from the fact that you're screwing up on job one. And job one is helping working Americans and helping the middle class afford their lives and build a life where their children are going to live better than them. That's the American dream. And you have done nothing but play.
Okay. Hey, he's right. Okay. Now, I will say, he once again, and I know maybe I feel like I'm fixated on this. I'm sorry, but I have trouble not being fixated on genocide. He's making it seem like that's the only issue people care about. I will say, what about the genocide in Gaza? There are a lot of people upset about that. There are other things too that we don't have to only focus on economics. And by the way, the concentration camps that we've set up in this country for immigrants, like Alligator Alcatraz, definitely something to talk about. It is part of the immigration debate. Yeah. But I do agree with him generally, but I think it's a bit late for this, right? I mean, yeah, we need to talk about economics, but now there's a bunch of other stuff going on that we're forced to talk about because of the authoritarian fascist government we're currently living under. Continue.
Politics over the past year. It's really not that hard to do. We'll see. Cut and paste. It's really not hard to do. And I'm already telling the Republicans the same thing. If Democrats were off over here, it's not hard. But I don't know why like Gavin Newsom. He wants to own Donald Trump. He wants to be Donald Trump light. You can't be Donald Trump light. Hey, Gavin, talk into the camera and talk about making life more affordable. Not only.
Okay. Also, folks, for the 8,000th time, actions speak louder than words. So I appreciate what Joe here is saying. Regardless, it's more than just talking about economic issues. You have to do something. Do something. And the Democrats are habitually incapable of doing anything significant to actually improve the lives of people. So, I mean, Kamala Harris, talked a lot about economic issues during her campaign. She really did, especially at the beginning. But still people didn't vote for her because there is no record of Democrats actually doing what they say. Okay? I mean, all right, we'll go on. I need to watch that cow video again.
For people in California, but if you want to talk about people in New Hampshire, our people in Iowa, our people in South Carolina, they would like to know how their lives can be more affordable, not how you can own Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not running again. These Democrats, who I have called Chuck Webner instead of Muhammad Ali, Chuck Webners, they're the ones that are running again.
Oh, yeah, Donald Trump isn't running again. Let's hope so. He's stating it like it's a fact, despite all the indications to the otherwise. I'm going to go back a little bit. I missed a little bit of that.
They're the ones that are running again. They're the ones that are in the boxing ring with Democrats, not Donald Trump.
It does seem, and we'll see if Democrats are taking notes there, it does seem Democrats are starting to zero in on the affordability issue. Even, we've talked about Zoran Mandani here in New York. There are things about his campaign that other Dems are queasy about, but they applaud his focus on the affordability. They have not come up.
Alan W., yes, you're right. Kamala almost immediately. Honestly, when she first came out and ran, she had some great policy ideas. They're not as strong as I would have liked them to be, but they were economic, lowering grocery costs, building affordable housing. But she very quickly withdrew from those as more donations started coming into her campaign. I wonder why. So again, talk is not all that matters. Okay, do something. Back a little bit here.
And that other Dems are queasy about, but they applaud his focus on the affordability. They have not come up with an answer with some of the social issues you just mentioned.
Yeah, but you know what? Why won't they talk about tax cuts for billionaires? Why won't they talk about tax cuts for monopolists? Why won't they talk about tax cuts for multinational corporations? Because a lot of them are funded by them. And a lot of them are afraid to stand up to the richest of the rich in America because they're funded. You are either,
Okay, Joe. I'll take that. I will take that. I am habitually irritated by how these mainstream news sources do not talk about corruption. And he is just saying it outright. I think that is a positive thing. But again, it is more than just talking about it.
Let's quit Wall Street, baby. You're either on the inside or you're on the outside. And if they want to be on the inside with the billionaires, live there. Get your contributions from there. But there's a reason why Mamdani is winning. There's a reason why Bernie's doing what he's doing. There's a reason why AOC's doing what she's doing, because they're not afraid to call out the billionaires and the tax cuts for the multinational corporations. Yep. And they're not afraid to take on the monopolists in Silicon Valley. And to your mainstream Democrats are.
Yeah, and to your point about the work that Democrats need to do, new reporting in the Times this morning, just broke a short time ago, of the 30 states that track voter registration, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one.
That's
in the last 4 years. All 30 states between 2020 and 2014. That's a total of a swing of 4.5 million voters to Republicans. So it shows Democrats a lot of things to work on.
Oh God, folks! Do we think they'll work on it? Do we think they're learning their lesson after watching, Elise Slotkin yesterday? Oh God. Okay. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. And with Hakeem Jeffries basically leading the Democratic Party at this point, I mean, and Chuck Schumer, God help us. Okay. Alan W. says she also muzzled Tim Walz. Yeah, she should have let him out as an attack dog. I really liked Tim Walz. He's not perfect, but I really liked him. And he was super popular because he was sort of a populist, did a lot of really great things in his own state. But again, you had to muzzle him. Oh, absolutely, Death Died Today. Thank you for saying that. We did not, I don't know why he had to throw the trans people and immigrants under the bus before he made that point, okay? Again, folks, we can do two things at once. We can protect trans people, not throw immigrants into concentration camps, and we can talk about the economy. It's not that hard. We can do it. But of course, a lot of these folks, they miss the point. Okay, yes, we need to talk more about economic issues, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about those other things. But anyway, and again, even bringing those things up, like, why would he's making the situation worse. Why wouldn't he just not bring them up, because that reinforces the narrative that those are the things that should be talked about. By the way, because we are under a fascist regime, we do need to talk about them now. But regardless, yeah, Macy. Oh, don't worry, Macy. I know you're not defending it, Macy. But it was a good choice for us to watch because we can see what's going on here a bit. Okay, so all right. All right, guys. So let's see what else we can watch here. I think that was kind of a good one. Okay. Okay, let me see what else we got here on Discord. I think we got another good one here too. Again, folks, if you are watching the stream and you'd like to comment, you can subscribe. Okay, ding, ding, ding. Ba ba da ba da. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can go to my channel and click the join button and become a member, where you'll get this cute little jester hat next to your name, which will evolve over time like a Pokemon the longer you are a member, for only 99 cents a month. And also, if you want to become a Patreon, you can for $5 a month on the Patreon channel. Thank you, Drizella, for posting. That is, Drizella just posted one of the cute little emojis you'll be able to use if you're a member. Okay, fantastic. And that is, yeah. So there, I've done self promotion. Let's go on to the good stuff. All right, so let me see what else we got here. We got some other good recommendations here on Discord. By the way, folks, if you'd like to join Discord, you can. Would someone, if you don't mind, you don't have to, folks. I can probably pull it up. Would someone put the Discord link in the chat? If anyone wants to join our Discord channel, we have a lot of really good conversations on there, etc. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, God, Tiago, donate to the cult. Yes, donate to the cult. Donate to the cult, and then we'll be able to get on a spaceship and go to the planet blah 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 out in space, or whatever. Okay. That's the Heaven's Gate cult, by the way, I'm referring to. I'm kind of slaughtering it, but all right. Okay. So let me see what else we got here in Discord to react to. Really like a lot of these recommendations. I'm going to go back to Face Screen while I do that. All right. Okay, let's take a look. That looks good too. Oh. Before we do that, actually, and I will come back to that, I did have one other topic I kind of wanted to talk about. It's not. I think it's an important topic. You guys have heard me talk about sex and sexuality before on stream, but a new report came out. Let me pull that up. We'll talk about that for a second. About how Americans. How Americans are having less sex than ever. Okay, I know that sounds like it's a spicy sort of thing we're talking about here, but I do think it's important. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but okay, I'm sure you can imagine why. All right, let me make sure we got the right screen up here. All right, let me pull this up. So I believe this study actually was done a few months ago, maybe even a year ago or so, but I only recently found out about it. Okay. All right. First thing here, okay. Oh, where is it? So, I can't find the original. That's okay. So, a report came out recently that shows that Americans, especially younger Americans, are engaging in less sex than they ever have before. Okay, again, please stay with me here. I know this might be kind of a turnoff, no pun intended, for people when listening to the stream, because I know in America, especially, we have sort of a puritanical view of these things. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so there is a crisis in the United States of people not having sex anymore. Okay, especially younger people, and I'm not talking like minors. I'm talking like 20-year-old, things like that. Um, and I will say this. Let me start by saying this. There are multiple studies that show that engaging in sex is very good for your health. Okay, in many different ways. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. Yeah, guys, you're making a lot of really good chats here, and I will talk about all those things. Why this might be happening and such. Okay. This article here is from the Center for Women's Health. These are some of the benefits for women when it comes to engaging in sexual activity. You can see here it lowers your blood pressure. It increases your immune health. It makes you have better heart health. It improves your self-esteem. It actually has a um, mental health, like improves your mental health. It also decreases rates of anxiety and depression, which, by the way, we are in crisis right now in the United States with mental health issues. There is a massive rate of depression and anxiety. Okay, okay. It'll also this one I don't this one maybe is interesting. It'll increase your libido if you're more active. It also provides pain relief. We also have an issue in this country of people being addicted to painkillers. Think of oh God, I can't. I should know the name of that drug. That is geez, why can't I think of it off the top of my head? That a lot of folks are addicted to. Opioids, things like that. Okay, it can also improve sleep. Okay, it also increases closeness and intimacy to a partner. And it overall reduces stress, both physiologically and emotionally. And I can tell you, fentanyl, thank you very much. I should have known. Fentanyl, okay. All these things, it's very similar with men. If you look at studies of sexual activity, it provides all these effects for men too. And yet we're seeing a massive decrease in the amount of sexual activity. And if there's one thing our society needs less of, it is those things I just listed, okay? Uh, and there are a number of reasons why we can kind of guess this is happening. One of them is the work culture in the United States. I think someone mentioned that in chat. Okay. I mean, we work so much. Okay. More than many other industrialized wealthy nations. Um, it can often be hard to get quote unquote in the mood if you've been working all day and you come home to a partner or whatever and do this. Okay. So work is draining us. That is one big thing. Also, um, uh, the loneliness epidemic, which is a big issue. This is largely due to the internet. Okay, people have a lot more connections than ever before, but they're very weak connections. So you may know a bunch of people online, but you don't have a strong one. You're not actually meeting those people. A lot of people are getting caught in these bubbles. Um, which is why one of the reasons, folks, I say, don't fully always listen, always doubt what I'm saying and stuff. People get into these bubbles and stuff and they forget, they forget what they need in life. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, folks. Yeah, I know, Tiago. In Europe, there are some countries that are discussing a 4-day work week. And every time that's been brought up here, it's not even been taken seriously. I think Bernie Sanders brought it up, but no one really agreed with him. Yeah, we are barbarians over here in America. We think our people should work until they die and then don't have health care and then die that way and all this other stuff. Okay. And by the way, I will say, I think Ride the Skies did mention that who you kidding? I suffer from excess anxiety / a product of pollution in American society. There are many more reasons why there is a mental health crisis in this country. It's not just this, but it was sort of I studied anthropology. I think human behavior and stuff is super interesting. Um, yeah. No, that's fair, Hamina. That's fair. I didn't know about that about Denmark being retirement age of 74. Yeah. So exactly, Macy. A lot of folks do get to choose how much they work as opposed to having to go into work every single day, get barely any time off. I mean, it's horrific here in the United States, the work culture. And by the way, there's actually a video we may react to that I saw on Discord. It's actually worse, to be honest, in places like South Korea. But regardless, it is very bad here and in Japan for that matter. Yeah, and think about that. Yeah, that's a good point, Alan. Walkable cities and improved transit would help. Think of how many people spend all day in their cars, office, homes, etc. Alone, 100%. Okay, and another issue here, folks, is when it comes to sexual activity. We have to remember that I mean, there was already an issue with this previously, but there's a massive incel culture now. You all know what I'm talking about, the manosphere. There's a lot of sexually frustrated people out there. And I will say, one of the interesting things about this is in fascist regimes, there's actually been historical work done on sexual frustration, helping to build fascist movements. And I want you to think about this. So in like Nazi Germany, I told you how hyper masculinized fascist movements are. They're very misogynistic. They often put men at the top, of this hierarchy with women underneath, and they often will serve the role of just baby makers or homemakers with no freedom there. And a lot of times, I'm sure you can all guess this, hypermasculinity is a way of a sort of a display activity when one is feels sexually frustrated. And I don't know how we would fix this apart from those big social and economic changes I've been promoting, like fewer work hours, better health care, maybe a less fascist society that's making everyone depressed and things like that, fear about losing your job, things like that. But this is an issue, okay? Yeah, they did, Drusella. I actually showed one of those medals on stream a while back. So it's just something to think about. Um, no, you're right, Hamina, and I agree. It's not. It's not. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm not saying that that's the only issue there. Um, let me see here, Tiago. Oh, okay. Okay. I agree with Tiago here. Yeah, you're right. There are some issues with right wing politics in the Nordic countries, but I mean, comparatively to the U.S., they are still much more ahead of us in a lot of ways and lots of things. So, because remember, folks, sex is a natural human behavior. It can be sort of a canary in the coal mine because there are other things that are natural human behavior: eating, okay, sleeping, uh, and it is kind of a sad reflection on a society when there's less of this because that shows that people are becoming less able to be human. Okay. And it's just something that worries me. And I feel like sex isn't talked about enough in this country. It's just something I wanted to throw out there um, for all of your consideration. Uh, Go out there, have fun, if you know what I mean, as best you can. I will say Macy did mention people don't want unwanted pregnancies, and that's another good point. I will say with the abortion, the issue with abortion being overturned in so many, like the rights to abortion being overturned, this might be a symptom of that too. And think about how unhealthy that is for the health of people that they can't do a natural human behavior because they have no means to prevent some unwanted outcomes of that behavior. Okay. So it's just one of those complex social issues I wanted to bring your attention to. Because of the nature of the United States, you may not hear about it or talk about it much. Um, okay, guys. I forgot to mention that. Now I will go back now to the Discord and find something to watch. Again, folks, if we get 3 more super chats, um, yeah, you're right, Macy Schroeder. As I said yesterday, women will seek abortions whether it's legal or not. What you do by banning abortions, that nonsense lie about you being pro-life. No, you're pro. You're pro. If you claim to be pro-life, okay, yeah, whatever. You're not, but you're actually pro-death of women. And yep. Hmm. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, hey, hello, Gimpy Gaming. Welcome to the stream again. Gimpy Gaming becoming a regular on here. Great contributor to the Discord. Gimpy Gaming says, sex is a myth. Heck, I can't even fly solo, yet I persist. Hey, more power to you, Gimpy Gaming. You have fun, okay? Have a good time, right? It's only human. Obviously, folks. I know you know this, Gimpy, but of course, just be safe about it. Be respectful, etc., etc. Get consent, okay? Um, Okay. So just something to, and I do wonder what people think, folks, about like dating apps and stuff. Do we think, I suspect that dating apps and stuff actually, I mean, assist people with that, but do we think that might be doing something? I have no base evidence of that or anything. It's just a curious question I sort of had. Um, okay. All right. So that's an interesting thing. Let's go back here. Long Beach Dragon. Thank you for bringing that up. Long Beach Dragon says any man who thinks he should be able to regulate pregnancy ought to try out that pregnancy simulator. Their opinion will quickly change. I got to tell you, folks, I had the chance of when I was in college, I was taking a class on women in the developing world, and I had the chance to be hooked up to one of those machines that simulates what it feels like to have a contraction. And if you want to quickly realize how strong so many women are, just hook yourselves up to one of those machines. I think they put it at 50% pain level for me, like half of what a woman might be feeling, obviously without painkillers, okay? But and I was crying like a baby. All right. Really gave me much deeper respect for my mother, for example. And again, I was at like 50% and I couldn't handle it. So like women, yeah. Okay. Our bodies actually, weirdly enough, humans, because we're bipedal, we walk on two legs. Our sort of bone structure and hips aren't the best at giving birth. As a matter of fact, when women give birth, a lot of times they will break their hips. There'll be a fracture there, and there's a lot of stuff there. And I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from having a child if they want to have a child. I'm just saying, yeah, men, if they want to regulate pregnancy, they really, yeah, they should. Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're idiots. Okay. Let's put it that way. Is that so? I didn't know that. Long Beach Dragon said Mario Lopez barely made it 10% of the way. Oh, okay. Hey, at least I can say I made it to 50% before I became a crying baby. Okay. And asked them to disconnect me. So yeah, but hey, yeah, uh-huh. Macy Schroeder. Yeah, historically, women's hips were much wider to birth alone, but those genetics didn't beat the benefits of community. You're 100% right, Macy. But yeah, so just interesting thing there. Thought we could talk about a little bit, and I hope folks you don't mind me sort of talking about women in a sort of a way that's uh, turning them into biological units. But it is true. Human evolution has sort of led to that. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to face here. Okay, let's see what else we got here to react to. I might not be able. We'll see if we can react to some of these. There is a. Let me take a look here. Some of them might be copyrighted, but we'll find out very quickly, I suppose. Okay, there's another one from Macy. Macy, I'm going to hold off on that one for now, just because I don't. I did one for you before, but that does look interesting. Let me see what else we got here. We got Fern, Trump's secret crypto empire. Ooh, that might be interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll try. Okay, we'll pull that up. I have not seen this. That's 18 minutes. We'll see what we can do with it here. Okay, we'll do that. That looks good. Okay, we'll watch a video here, folks. It's by Fern. Please go check out their channels so that they know that I'm not trying to steal their content. Yeah, it's called Fern, Trump's secret crypto empire. Crypto, of course, being essentially a scam in a lot of ways. And let's. But I mean, you can make money off of it, but it's very dangerous. All right, let me just move this over. Okay, let's move that over here. Okay, let's take a look. That's interesting, Toya Toya Toya. Would you give us some more knowledge? Toya 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 recently divorced here. I don't know how to speak to women anymore. Would you, if you want to, you don't have to. Would you clarify that a bit? Well, what do you mean by that? Okay, women are heroes, 100%, Tiago. They really are. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Macy, gay clown talks about female parts for the thumbnail. Yeah, that would get some clicks, okay? Oh, that's clever. Okay. Um Alan W says my generation uses dating apps like Tinder more than actually going out meeting people organically. Yeah, that's I would see that. I mean, I've used dating apps too, folks. And I do think there is yeah, there's some issues there. By the way, I'm loving this discourse about American food. I am an American food hater. I know. I do like some of the kinds of American food, but I've mentioned before on stream Indian food is some of my favorite because there's many more spices. Um, I like Cajun food, but because there's spices in it, which is an American food. I mean, partially an American food. But yeah, I think a lot of places have much better food than the U.S. Okay, but we're gonna start lefty and we're gonna start some infighting there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Macy Schroeder, especially in rural areas, it can be harder to find a partner or, yeah, yeah, just because of population density, etc. Japanese food, Dubois, I love Japanese food. Absolutely love Japanese food. I didn't tell you all this, folks, but I used to be somewhat of a sushi chef. Literally, I worked in a Kroger, which is a grocery store, and I was making the sushi. It was really rough job, but I learned to make sushi really well. I stopped doing that after like a few months, but I do like Japanese food a lot. Very good food there. Long Beach Dragon. If you think American food is bland and blasé, you'll abhor British food. For the British folks in chat, I got to tell you, I'm sorry, but I agree with Long Beach Dragon. I've been to the UK, and although like London, for example, has a great food scene because there's a lot of a variety of different foods from all around the world. Yeah, I'm not a fan of mushy peas. Not a fan of like the shepherd's pie stuff. Not really. Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Okay, I agree, Tiago. I will say I do like the cream cheese and stuff that we put in sushi. And tempura is perfection. Oh my god! You know what? I think you guys are kind of correcting me. Yeah, I agree. There is a lot of uh yeah, okay. Uh yeah, no, you're right, Fox Emblem. I would say there is most American food is sort of taken from other places, but there's foods that I'm sure you know this, Fox Emblem, like that are viewed as being American, even though they have sort of been taken from other places. Um, yeah, uh, kind of like a homey food. Yeah, but yeah, okay. Um, I should say the American palate isn't particularly diverse. A lot of bland food, a lot of food that is not particularly tasty, in my opinion. It is very important. Multiculturalism is very important. I know I'm getting off track here, folks. I'm getting a bit, my mouth is starting to water. Okay. So, folks, again, if we get 3 more super chats, I'll put on the Jester Caller. If you're watching and you want to comment, if you subscribe to the channel, in 5 minutes, you'll be able to make a chat. And if you want to support me, you can become a member by clicking the join button on my YouTube page. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can get all those lovely little Jester hats and emojis. Um, uh, and things like that. All right, now let me pull up this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we'll see if I can watch this. If I get a copyright warning or something, we'll have to stop. This is about Trump's crypto empire. This will be interesting to watch. We'll see how he's exploiting his position and power, I'm sure, to make lots of money using crypto. And a lot of the crypto bros around him, I'm sure, are part of this. Let's take a look here. And get through this ad.
Artlist helps you work faster with a curated.
Okay, I'm going to make sure to put it on 1.5 times speed to make sure we don't get that little copyright thing here.
Do you know this?
Oh, okay, 1.5 times speed. There we go. Okay, let us begin, folks, and God help us all for what we're about to see. All right, let's take a look here. All right, okay, let's go, folks. We'll see what is going on here. That's great, Meow Zord. Yeah, he donates his salary, so he's a selfless man. Donald J. Trump, a very selfless man for donating his salary. Okay, let's continue.
Logo? Probably not, but it's a company that's about to make Trump and his family billions. Trump doubled his fortune within a year thanks to crypto. The Trump family is positioning themselves as major players in the industry, leveraging the presidency like no one before them.
Before we start, let me just indicate something real fast here about crypto. So, people are always pushing crypto, people to buy crypto. That's because the more that people buy a cryptocurrency, the value of that cryptocurrency goes up. It is sort of an imaginary thing, though, right? It's not like it actually has that value. It's a matter of supply and demand. The more people that buy it, the value of that currency goes up, and then eventually it'll likely collapse. In most cases, it does. So Trump is majorly pushing his what, Trump coin or whatever it is, and to get a lot of people to buy it, so that the people that buy it will see an increase in value early on, but eventually it'll crash out. Okay, like that happens with most cryptocurrencies. But let's see.
So investigative reporters took a closer look at their crypto ventures, and they uncovered a story of get-rich-quick advisors and dating gurus turned business partners, a foreign investment, White House access for sale, paused fraud lawsuits.
Oh, absolutely. Welcome to the stream, Mr. Justin Z. Yeah, I am annoyed and scared too about crypto, and the comments that have been made about turning it into like the world currency, that is not good. Yeah, kind of like a rug pull. Yep, absolutely. Hamina says, well, by the way, welcome again, Hamina. You're basically a regular now. I just wanted to call you out. Great job. I mean, not great job, but thank you for being in here. Crypto is fraudulent AF. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, let's see where we go now.
And presidential pardons. The world's most powerful man is reshaping an industry his businesses are deeply invested in. And somehow, outside that industry, hardly anyone seems to notice. How did the Trump family pull this off?
That's why I am red.
Oop, okay, I'm going to kind of skip through this intro just for the sake of copyright stuff. A lot of music here. Let's go on. All right, we'll go to there. Let's see.
This video is partially based on an investigative report by Eric Lipton, David Yaffe-Balani, and Ben Protest for the New York Times.
Okay, thank you, Macy. I will reduce. Is the video? So should I? I'll increase the sound of the mic, and then slightly decrease the sound of the video because you're right. It's actually like blasting my ear off, the sound of the video. Let me quickly do that here. Audio application. I'll turn that down a little bit. Okay, and then I will up the mic a little bit. Is that okay? Let's see. Is this better?
You'll find the link in the description.
Yeah, well, there's an ad. Is my voice still not loud enough? Okay. This video is very loud for some reason. Let me see. How are we doing, folks? Can we gain up? We need some more gain there. Okay, then I will increase the gain here on the mic. Give me a moment. A little bit increased. A little bit increased there. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Get out of there. Oh, cancel. Okay. Well, maybe that'll help a little bit. Okay. Thank you, Tiago. Yeah, you know how incompetent folks I am with audio. Is that better? Is that a lot better? Can you hear me better now? I did up the gain. All right. Let's see what we got. I'm going to keep playing the video. Let me know if you can hear me over the video. Can you hear me over the video, or should I decrease the sound of the video? I'm going to pause, give everyone a moment to answer that. In the meantime, if we get 3 more super chats, I will put on the jester collar, and then after that, I will put on the makeup, and we can have a lovely little. I will definitely complete the jester look. That's good. Okay, let's continue.
Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air. Unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activity.
Yep, that's true. I doubt he continued to think that way. Okay. Oh, I got you, Tiago. Okay. All right.
2021, he said,
Bitcoin, it just seems like a scam.
But by July 2024, he said this during a Bitcoin conference in Nashville.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
Oh God. Okay. And by the way, folks, so Trump was proposing creating like a Bitcoin reserve, where the government would purchase a ton of Bitcoin. Now, this is a scam. You know why? Because remember what I said, the more cryptocurrency that's bought, the value goes up. So a lot of people who donated to this campaign were crypto bros, and they're asking the government, so they're asking us to spend our tax dollars for Trump to make a reserve where the government will buy a bunch of crypto. And what will that do to the value of the crypto for those crypto bros? It'll make the value of their cryptocurrency go through the roof. But eventually it'll fall because it's crypto and it is based on thin air. So we will see if they talk about that, but it is a scam designed to pay back his donors.
A stark turnaround. What happened? When Biden enters office in 2020, his administration increases regulation of the crypto industry in several ways. The goal is to better protect investors from the risks and
based Biden there. one of the few things that, I mean, he did some good things. I guess that is one of them. Yes, please, probably not enough, but I'm glad that he did regulate crypto.
Volatility of the crypto market. Most importantly, the Biden administration empowers the Securities and Exchange Commission to regulate crypto companies. The SEC goes into action under the newly appointed chairman Gary Gensler. It starts charging crypto companies to create legal precedent. For example, the agency goes after the creators of the Terra cryptocurrency. Terra wiped out $40 billion in market value when it collapsed in 2022.
Because it always collapses, folks. It always collapses because the value is out of thin air, and it doesn't, once people realize that it's not as valuable as it appears, it will drop in value. Okay?
It charges the responsible company and its founder with orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar crypto asset securities fraud. The SEC argues that cryptocurrencies are simply securities, a financial asset like stocks. That definition comes with a whole set of compliance requirements, which crypto companies often don't meet. So the agency goes after them for listing unregistered securities, for misleading marketing, and for failing to register tokens as securities. Within 3.5 years, the agency issues roughly $6 billion in total penalties across about 100 cases. The crypto industry doesn't like it. In their view, it doesn't make sense to treat all crypto as securities. According to them, they don't fit the definition. They want less regulation. And so do many crypto enthusiasts who feel that the Biden administration is hostile towards crypto. Enter the presidential race of 2024. A sizable chunk of voters is worried about this issue. Over 50 million Americans own crypto, and over 2 million join a crypto advocacy group. Politically, it makes sense for Trump to change course, to appeal to these voters and corporations frustrated with his opponent.
I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden.
You think that had something to do? You think that pledge has something to do with all the money coming into his campaign from the crypto bros? I suspect so. Okay. Obviously. By the way, Tiago, how dare you? Tiago says Biden wasn't capable of peeing without help. Let's applaud the good thing like he was a hero. He is not a hero. He was a genocidal maniac. Weirdly enough, he did some things that he did some of the most. He did do some positive things, but not a fan of Biden at all. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. So forgive me for complimenting. Maybe one of the things he did that was good. There were maybe a couple others.
Biden, Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
He first dipped his toes into crypto in 2022 with an NFT collection. He claims seeing how many people paid in crypto for these NFTs changed his mind on the issue. Also, he begins to receive sizable donations from crypto companies for his presidential campaign. This election is the first time the crypto industry went all in on lobbying efforts. But another thing is happening behind the scenes. Donald Jr. and Eric are the key players in the Trump family's business operation.
Who would have thought? Nepotism. His whole family is profiting off of his presidency, profiting off of our, profiting off that. Okay.
According to the New York Times, they supposedly convinced their dad that embracing crypto would not just be a smart political move, they could also make quite a bit of money with it.
Oh, shocking. He was looking out for his own financial interest. Is that shocking to anyone?
They came up with two ideas, a coin and a bank. Both will be incredibly successful. It's not just money. Our lives are increasingly digital, but until recently, mobile internet was annoyingly physical. We travel a lot for our reporting, and a hefty roaming charge will scare flight mode right into you. But recently, we completely switched to Sally's eSIM service. No more hassle to find a SIM on site, no more ripoffs and insane roaming charges. Save any plans and install useful extras. A virtual. Now you can get download the app and use it.
There we go. The coin.
Meme coins are like digital collectibles. There's a limited supply for each coin, and if one takes off, its value can skyrocket. On January 17, Trump unveils his own meme coin. It comes with a disclaimer that it's not an investment opportunity and has nothing to do with any political office.
Always read the fine print, folks. Always read the fine print. I bet a lot of the folks who buy it probably don't read the fine print, but read the fine print. Dubois, 100%. I think everyone in chat would agree. Billionaires should not exist. There should be no billionaires. It should be illegal to have that much money. Okay. Absolutely, 100%. I think it was Death Died Today who, who made the comment about we need we need a lot, we need a real big cap on the amount of money a person can have.
The launch goes extremely well. Millions of people buy it. Within days, it becomes one of the most popular and valuable meme coins in the world. Two Trump businesses control 80% of all coins, a share worth $58 billion at one point. That would be about 90% of Trump's net worth. Shortly after, the value plummeted and so far never recovered. In consequence, nearly half
Melissa, I agree.
Half of the people who bought this coin lost money. A tiny group of people made enormous profits. The Trump family hasn't actually sold their coins, which are still theoretically worth billions. But they made an incredible amount of money nonetheless, through the sale of the tokens and transaction fees. The Financial Times estimates a figure of at least $335 million. Under the Biden administration, Trump's and other meme coins might have been investigated by the SEC. They're a hotbed for wild financial speculation and scams, and most buyers tend to lose money. But that doesn't happen in this case. And once Trump is in power, he replaces the head of the SEC, as promised.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a...
By the way, folks, American currency is becoming less and less valuable, and it might very well be that we won't, our currency won't be the sort of the global standard, I guess you could say. You know, I don't mind too much about that, but that is still, you know, so much for Trump being America first, right? Anyway,
Shortly after, the agency publishes a statement saying that meme coins are essentially not to be investigated.
Oh, Alan W. 100%. Does everyone remember Lena Khan, who he appointed to the chair of the FEC? Really, really great woman. You know, very strong advocate for regulations and things like that.
Investigated or regulated by them because they can't be defined as securities. The agency also ends their investigation into several crypto companies. Experts are quick to point out a conflict of interest. The president and his family profit from crypto, while he's also the one setting crypto policy. Crypto executives fear Trump's coin could damage the industry's reputation, one they've been working to rebuild after years of scandals. But it doesn't end here.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
Okay, skip that. Let's go.
In April 2025, it's announced that the top 220 holders of Trump's coin will be invited to a private dinner with the president. The top 25 will also get access to an exclusive pre-dinner reception and a special VIP tour of the White House. Mostly foreign crypto investors spent a total of $100.
Can you admit that's just like open corruption? I mean, I don't know. Open corruption, just out there in the open, but no one cares. I mean, no one cares. It's whatever, you know, let him exploit his position to make, you know, billions upon billions of dollars. Great. Love it for us, love it for the world.
$148 million on Trump coins for a chance to attend. Crypto entrepreneur Justin Sun alone seems to have paid $16 million. More on him in a minute. The attendee list was not published, but other notable figures included the crypto investor Sungrok O, Kine Warwick, and the meme coin startup Memecore. This might give the impression.
Remember, folks, how when we talked about Who Rules America, during the stream where I I had just had some rosemary, I had to delete it though because I accidentally put up the Discord. Regardless, a lot of these people know each other. I really like how they're showing how there's all these connections between these elites, and you know they have their interests in mind. Of course, I wish the working class had a better sense of class consciousness, so that we could do the same thing and make connections amongst ourselves to combat this. Alas, right now, as we called it yesterday, the bourgeois do have that class consciousness, while a lot of working class people do not.
That one can buy access to the President of the United States. Luckily, the White House clarified.
The President is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable. The American public believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So she's saying that he's abiding by all the conflict of interest laws. Yeah, but the problem here is, let's say he is, which he isn't, but let's say he was, those conflict of interest laws are basically non-existent, okay? They're very weak. I think that's why members of Congress, for example, can still trade on the stock market, even though they have insider knowledge of what stocks are going to do because they're in Congress. So that is a false, that is sort of a misleading statement. I mean, obviously, that's what she specializes in. She's the propaganda minister. She is the Goebbels. So, yeah.
That this president is profiting off of the presidency.
But all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. This story has been in the news extensively. Meanwhile, the full extent of the Trump family's involvement in crypto is concealed within a far more ambitious and far less public venture. According to Eric Trump, it's one of the most successful things they ever did. On September 16, 2024, Trump announced the launch of a new venture called World Liberty Financial. This new business is run by his sons Eric, Donald Jr., and Barron. The goal is to become a kind of crypto bank, a place where people can borrow and lend money in digital currencies. Their plans are laid out in this gold paper that has Trump all over it. He's listed as the company's chief crypto advocate. DT Marks DeFi LLC is a corporate entity of the Trump family. Trump's assets are managed by his children, but he still directly benefits from them. This entity owns roughly 40% of World Liberty Financial. The other four founders include Zach Witkoff and his father Steve Witkoff, a real estate mogul, longtime friend of Trump, and his special envoy to the Middle East. The Atlantic dubbed him the real Secretary of State. Then there are Zachary Falkman, known as Z-Money, and Chase Harrow. The two were reportedly brought in through Zach Witkoff, and they had rather interesting careers before teaming up with the president's family to launch a crypto bank. Z-Money once ran a site called Date Hotter Girls.
Like what it is that you want to do to this girl, throwing her up against the wall and ripping her clothes off.
Okay. Yeah, here we go with that toxic masculinity stuff. Please don't throw someone up against a wall. I mean, unless they consent to that. All right.
According to the New York Times, the two also sold colon cleanses and gave get-rich-quick advice.
First 14 days of January, I made $1 million net. I became a man.
In any case, this team...
Oh my God, more toxic masculinity. Geez, we're seeing some intersections here, aren't we? Yeah, right, Tiago. I guess there's the sexuality, the people not having sex anymore. Hey, just go to that website and God, Jesus.
Gets right to work. First, World Liberty Financial begins to sell a new cryptocurrency called WilFi. The Trump family is entitled to 75% of the revenue from these coin sales, after a minimum has been generated that will stay in the company. Whoever buys gets voting rights in the company in the future. The purchase essentially makes you a shareholder. The Trump family owns 22.5 billion of these coins. The goal is to sell $300 million worth of this new currency. But at the end of October, sales are at just a few $1 million. Then, election night changes everything.
Thank you very much. Wow. Incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
It's everything for Trump is something that's never been seen before. It's like, we've never seen it before. I've never seen it before. No one's ever seen it before. They hate me like no one's ever seen before. Oh, the hyperbole makes me want to puke. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Meowzord. Drop shipping red pill crypto bro epidemic 100%. 100%.
Fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
Big things on the horizon for World Liberty Financial.
Toya. I can't say what I mean. I can't. Literally, it's a symbol. But if everyone looks in the chat here, Toya, with an emoji that does reflect the problem of overcompensation with a lot of these men who like to talk about their masculinity and stuff. Probably because there's something else going on there. I think Long Beach Dragon said it last time, but great chat.
Suddenly, people are starting to buy. Many investors are from places like Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong, and the United Arab Emirates. They are legally not allowed to donate to a presidential campaign, but WilFi offers a nice workaround to back Trump. Other investors previously had trouble with the SEC. Here, one man stands out, Justin Sun. At the time, the SEC is suing him and his companies for fraud and securities violations. They allege the unregistered trading of securities, extensive wash trading to make it seem that particular coins had trading activity to inflate their price, and the undisclosed promotion of two coins through multiple celebrities. Sun spends a total of $75 million on World Liberty's coins after the election. According to him, that has nothing to do with the giant lawsuit and is simply a vote of confidence in Trump. Then Trump is inaugurated and Gensler steps down as chairman of the SEC. Shortly after, the agency requests to pause the lawsuit against...
Gosh, Fern did his, I think it's a he, I mean, assuming, but did his research, didn't he? I wonder where he got all this info. This is really good. It looks like he has a citation in the lower left-hand corner. I'm sorry, I'm being teachery right now, but he has a citation in the lower left-hand corner. That's fantastic. It's always good to know where the sources come from of what he's talking about.
Sun. In 2024 alone, Trump made $57 million from WilFi token sales. World Liberty Financial is just getting started, though. Next step, a transformative initiative. They supposedly set out to help out smaller crypto companies by investing into their coins. But the New York Times found out that these deals apparently have a not-so-public second layer. Apparently, World Liberty Financial doesn't simply buy other coins, they may propose asymmetrical currency swaps. This is how it would go. A company buys somewhere between $10 and $30 million of WilFi, and in turn, World Liberty Financial buys a smaller chunk of their coin. This way, World Liberty would reportedly make up to a 20% premium on these deals. The company's argument for these types of deals is supposedly that they're like super close to the president. Some crypto companies...
Yeah, that's what makes the deal legitimate. Well, we're super close to the president, so yeah, that's just like openly admitting your corruption. Oh, I love this country so much. It is just, it's on the right path, isn't it, folks? Okay.
Apparently felt World Liberty was essentially selling an endorsement, but reportedly several crypto companies struck deals with World Liberty Financial. Many others rejected them, calling the supposed approach dishonest. World Liberty Financial told the New York Times that it would be false, absurd, and dangerous to suggest that investments or partnerships with World Liberty Financial were conducted as some sort of political quid pro quo.
Welcome back.
But the New York Times found even more troubling coincidences. World Liberty Financial announced a partnership with Athena Labs in December 2024 and bought $5 million of their cryptocurrency. One of Athena's investors pleaded guilty to violating the Bank Secrecy Act in 2022. Trump pardoned him in March of 2025. Trump also called for legislation to...
Okay, of course. Remember, Trump always pardons the people that are like donors or big, again, the criminality is just astounding for being the anti-crime president, etc. Okay. Okay, having flashbacks to that Jubilee debate. Okay.
Govern stablecoins so they could better operate in the US. Those are cryptocurrencies designed to always be worth $1. Shortly after World Liberty Financial introduced their own stablecoin, USD1. It already has a market cap of over $2 billion, making it the 5th biggest stablecoin in the world. The coin was used for a $2 billion investment into Binance by MGX. Binance is the world's largest crypto exchange. Changpeng Zhao is the founder and former CEO of the company. Last year, he was sentenced to 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to money laundering in the US. In light of this deal, Zhao met with Zach Witkoff, Z-Money, and Chase Harrow. MGX, on the other hand, is a state-owned investment company in Abu Dhabi. The deal was led by the National Security Advisor of the United Arab Emirates. Again, some worry this could present a conflict of interest. One could argue that through this deal, a foreign country is directly contributing to the financial benefit of the US president. And this deal is just one part of the Trump family's growing business relations in the Middle East.
Yeah, by the way, Trump does have a lot of really interesting connections with the Saudis. I won't go into it now, but maybe that's why he was willing to downplay the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and things like that. A lot of other very big deals with a lot of those basically oil states there in the Middle East. Also, might explain why he was so willing to bomb Iran, because a lot of those countries are sort of enemies of Iran. There's a lot of corruption there, obviously. South Park was correct, Mr. Justin Z. Oh, there's a lot of comments here. You know what? We're almost done with this. I will go through the comments afterwards.
There's more, though.
This is Pod 5.
Oh, God, can we please just get
fully immersive sleep system?
Edward Bernays is Ghost. All right.
The Trump Media and Technology Group is the company behind Trump's Truth Social platform. In May, it raised more than $2 billion to buy Bitcoin. This makes the company effectively a giant bet on the cryptocurrency. Just 2 months prior, Trump had announced a national crypto reserve. Specifically, Bitcoin and Ether would be at the heart of it. In turn, these two coins and many others gained in value significantly for a period. World Liberty Financial had also been buying $240 million worth of Ether in the months before the announcement.
Jeez.
Yet another Trump venture recently raised $220 million for Bitcoin mining. So, what does all of this mean? There are many moving pieces.
It means we're screwed.
To the story. Reports of possibly secretly sold stakes, an apparent divestment by Steve Witkoff, new maneuvers to align Wilfi and the Trump meme coin. But this is the big picture. According to Forbes, crypto now makes up most of Trump's wealth, around 60%. Just think about that for a second.
Oh my God.
He inherited and expanded a real estate empire for half a century. Now it took just a year for him to double his wealth. Is it a coincidence that this is also the year he became president again? The year in which he seized control of the most important regulatory bodies around crypto?
Remind me, folks, to talk about Peter Thiel sometime. Okay, anyway.
The New York Times writes that World Liberty Financial has erased centuries-old presidential norms, eviscerating the boundary between private enterprise and government policy in a manner without precedent in modern American history. The picture Trump's crypto ventures are painting is that of an oligarchy, where rich people in trouble with the law suddenly don't have trouble anymore, where foreign governments and investors enrich the US leader directly, and where you get to go to the White House if you just give the Trump family enough money.
Mm-hmm. That was a great video. I believe, who was that? That was at London that recommended that. Thank you for that recommendation. That was a good video. All right. Okay, folks. Let me see what people are saying in chat. Okay, face. For the folk, hello everyone doing. Okay, so let me take a look. All right. First thing here, if we get 3 more super chats, I'll put on the gesture collar. All right. So consider doing that if you'd like to. You can also become a member on the page by clicking the join button. Okay, you all heard this. I'm just going to stop there. Okay, so let me see. We have some great comments here. Let me see what people were saying during the video. Yeah, it's always Reagan's fault. That's for sure. Listen, that's for sure. Yeah, Macy Schroeder, did Reagan know all this was coming, or am I scapegoating? I feel like a lot of this does have to do with Reagan because of all the deregulations and stuff. Okay, nobody likes Biden. Well, that's accurate, Tiago. Okay, Hamina, Hunter Biden is dope, though. Oh, you know what? I actually was hoping to react to some of Andrew Callahan's stuff. I love his interviews and stuff. Great journalist. I know there's some drama there. I don't really care. He's a great journalist. Billionaire shouldn't exist. Yeah. Toy. I can't wait for BRICS. Yeah, to start using its own currency. Yeah, right. That's probably closer than we think. Toy with the state of America, yeah. But as I will say, as Fox Ellman said, that wouldn't be terrible because hey, it'd be nice to see the American empire kind of fall because of all the suffering it's caused. Anyway, isn't Macy? Isn't the stock market just nachos reheated? Yeah, kind of. That's a good comparison. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, okay, I saw that one. How do we, my rep say he's working hard to get more affordable housing? Why did my rep say he's working hard to get more affordable housing? Right, oh my goodness. Okay, Dubois says start with 500 million or whatever and tax any money made after that at 99%. Oh, Dubois, I totally agree with you. Yes. Yeah, you got to take chances. We used to, by the way, in this country, tax the wealthy at something like 70 to 80%. And then Reagan was one of the reasons why that ended, amongst of other things. But now they are basically not taxed. Okay, I mean they are, but they can escape it through a bunch of loopholes. Toya, it needs to be limited amount like $50 million, and this person gets a medal saying, "Congrats, you own capitalism." Right? Yep. Mm-hmm. Macy Stewart, a good thing I never had any other, probably best. Alan W. Lena Khan was probably the best part. Okay, I saw that one already. That is true. Yeah, okay, I mentioned that. Fox Emblem. That's funny, Macy. I'd pay for a table where I can't smell the diapers, that's for sure. Trump probably always crapping his diaper. It certainly sounds like a baby most of the time. Alan W., I'm more in favor of progressive taxation instead of a flat tax on everyone that makes over a certain threshold. That's fair, Alan. There are multiple ways to approach it. I have not settled on on what the best way is. Regardless, being a billionaire shouldn't be legal, okay? Especially when you live in a country where money determines power. Concentration of wealth yields concentration of power, okay? And so, yeah. Remember, folks, by the way, when we were talking about capitalism and how typically a cultural system grows out of the economic system, including what counts as masculinity. So, yeah, of course, under a capitalist system, masculinity is partially determined by wealth because that's very beneficial to the capitalist system and to the upper class. Okay, so that is definitely not surprised that there was that video where the guy said, "Oh, I have $1 million. I'm a man now." Yep, because that's a value that comes out of our system. Yep. Oh gosh, Alan spitting fire as always. He's also called for less of a focus on white collar crime in favor of more ICE enforcement. Yep, absolutely. Very selective application of going after who he views as criminals. Right. Obviously. Presidential pardons are so stupid. Tiago, I couldn't agree with you more. Toya, they are all overcompensated. Yeah, I think we can all see that. They're kind of making it very clear, okay, even with the language they use, like, just like the number thing, like I'm a big man, I have 100. Yeah, okay, something probably isn't that big. Why don't we say, okay, Homina says, according to the internet, his family has made 3.4 billion since second term. Yeah. Open corruption. It seems that people don't care. Obviously, I know you all care, but yeah, that's the country we live in. Jay Shadow, I'm not familiar with Gavin Newsom. He is progressive socially, but hasn't he? Yep. Gavin Newsom, not a good guy. Okay. Very corrupt. He's been doing some interesting things recently that are kind of performative. Not Jay Shadow, I'm sorry. Long Beach Dragon kind of mentioned this. His effort for the redistricting and stuff has been kind of flat. But yeah, not a good guy. And I suspect that's who a lot of the mainstream Democrats want to be the nominee. God help us all for that. South Park was correct. Yeah, Mr. Justin Z. Yeah. By the way, everyone should watch that South Park episode. Greatly humiliating for Trump. Love it. Alan W. Newsom went to homeless encampments and tore everything up with a smile on his face. Yeah, he's a monster. He also was massively bribed by the energy companies in California, which have been starting a lot of the wildfires. Those wildfires wouldn't start if, there's a lot more to this. There's also climate change and stuff, but you need to bury those wires, but that's expensive. So the electric companies in California don't want to spend the money to bury the wires, and they have bribed Gavin Newsom, so he won't push for that, amongst other things. Hamina, we are going to be the Wall-E, okay? We just gonna be fat in chairs with ads playing in the corner of our brain chips. Yeah, I'm seeing us going there. I'm definitely seeing that. Wall-E, a great movie, of course. Tiago Cardoso, I'm trying to consider the super chat. What, the bribe you sent me? Is that what it is? Maybe, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe we can, if you can send me another super chat, Tiago, it'll definitely increase the probability that I'll talk about it. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'll do it anyway. So, but you know what I mean. Macy Schroeder dropping a suggest for a music video to play while you're doing a biology break. Oh, okay. Can I do that? Isn't that copyright? We'll see. Fox Emblem. Yep, it does. Fox Emblem's brilliant as always. It all circles back to capitalism, exactly, which is why I'm a socialist, because a lot of this stuff stems out of capitalism, if not all of it. Henry G, I recommend Overzealots. He has great videos. Okay, thank you, Henry G. I'll make a note of that. I'll do that right now. Overzealots. By the way, folks, if you want to make recommendations, you can join our Discord page, and you will be able to. There's a recommendations channel on there. Well, there's a suggestions channel, and we're going to be making a separate one here pretty soon. Overzealots. Okay, thank you. All right. Dubois, I like how Jerome Powell can stand up against Trump for the interest rates. I think what I said was right. Laughing my ass. Yeah. Fox Emblem. Again, you get a sticker if you have over $10 million, but the rest of your money is yoinked. That says congrats, you're a POS. Yes, Fox Emblem. That's accurate. Okay. Tiago, Portugal has a very interesting progressive taxation system with flaws, but very complete, like many European countries. Tiago, with much more forward-thinking tax systems. Here in America, we are still living in the 19th century. So yeah. Henry G. Revenue Act of 1918 further increased the top tax rate to 77%. Correct. Okay, we used to have a massive tax rate on the wealthy that was quickly dismantled. So yeah. JK, hi. Anybody watch Elephant Graveyard's last video? I did not. I'm not sure what that is. But hello, JK. Welcome back to the chat. Macy Schroeder, I feel like half of Cali wouldn't vote for Newsom, probably at this point. I mean, I know a lot of Cali folks are not a fan of Newsom for a number of reasons. Andy Bashir, so I'm okay with Andy Bashir. He's again not far left enough for me. I need to know more about him. I do know some. I like what I've heard. I need to know more. Let's put it that way. I don't know. Okay. Macy Schroeder, Hamida, maybe we are the wall Z left on Earth. Very possible. Okay. Tiago, John Oliver talked about the power grid in America. You should see. Okay. I love John Oliver. I will definitely do that. Macy Schroeder, it kicks you off because copyright, it'll be during a break. I'm not sure what, Macy, do you mean like if I were to put the video up while I'm taking a biology break, it wouldn't be copyrighted? Elephant Graveyard is so good. I need to look that up. Oh, does he? Okay, yeah, that's what I'm concerned about, Alan W. I guess Bashir has a terrible Israel take. It seems the norm these days. And we have pro-genocidal people in office, and we're okay with that. Okay, so folks, again, if we get 3 more super chats, I will put on the Jester caller. Okay, so all right. Thank you everyone for those chats. What time is it now? Do we okay. So I don't have much else for you folks. There are a few other things I could react to. I feel like I want to hold off on doing that. Interesting. Okay. Does you know what? Let me just quickly check the news because there's so much happening. Who knows? And then in the few minutes we've been doing this, who knows what new horrors await us. Okay. Okay, Hurricane Aaron, for those of you that are in Florida and on the East Coast, please be careful. Okay, yeah. I don't see much new right now. Okay, so how about this, folks? Oh, jeez. He literally said we shouldn't be able to publicly criticize our allies in reference to Israel. Yep. Never mind about Andy Bashir. Thank you, Meowzord. Let me take a look at that elephant thing that people are mentioning. Thank you for posting on the Discord. Let me see here. Ooh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I will watch that. Let's watch that now, folks. After that, I will take a break and I may come back on later. But for now, let me watch this. This looks great. Okay. Oh, it's an hour. Okay, it's an hour and a half. You know what? If that's the case, maybe we'll watch it a different time. I want to be able to get through it if we do watch it. But that looks like a great video. So we maybe we'll do that in a future stream. Let me see what else we got here. Interesting. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Fox Emblem. Fox Emblem did post an article. Let's take a look at this. This is interesting. I'm going to pull this up on screen, folks. This has to do with transgender youth. Let me see what we got here. Okay, let's take a look at this. So, Fox Emblem once again giving a great recommendation here. So I get this is from The Guardian. More than 2.8 million people in the U.S. identify as trans, including 724,000 youth, data shows. Okay, let's see here. More than 2.8 million people now identify as transgender in the U.S., including an estimated 724,000 youth. Researchers from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, Williams Institute used federal surveys and data from the state health agencies to identify the size. The analysis shared with The Guardian and released on a website documented thousands of trans youth living in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. The findings countered Donald Trump's aggressive efforts to deny the existence of trans players. Yeah. His administration removes references to trans people across federal agencies and widely erodes protections and programs. Yep. Oh my God. Okay. One of the most yeah. Okay. The report builds on federal data collection efforts the White House is now eliminating. The authors warned their study could be a last comprehensive portrait of the nation's trans population for a decade or more. As trans people, yep, they're yeah. By the way, folks, we measuring like counting trans folks and stuff is sort of disappearing from official surveys and stuff in an effort to literally make them invisible, to pretend like they don't exist. And crime data, yeah, including health reports and crime data analyses. The Williams Institute primarily relied on data from 2021 to 2023 from Centers for Disease Control surveys and records. Yeah, so about 1% of the total U.S. population aged 13 and older identify as trans, including 0.8% of adults, more than 2.1 million people, and 3.3% of youth age. Yeah. Yeah. Trans people live everywhere and are represented in every state, says Dr. Jody Herman, senior scholar of public policy at the Williams Institute and co-author of the report, noting that the total U.S. trans population was greater than the individual population of more than a dozen states. Folks, I may have exaggerated when I said there was such a small transgender population. I mean, relatively that's small, but that is millions of people. So, and this substantial population has unique concerns and barriers. Yes, they do. Okay. The Williams Institute, a leading LGBTQ plus policy research center, has published national trans population counts. This is really sad how they, all this bans on trans youth healthcare and things like that. The quality and sources of the research data have improved from one report to the next. Okay. Oh my, yeah. Okay, that's fascinating. Yeah, we need to protect trans people like and I will say, with all the talk about what's happening to immigrants and stuff, I do have noticed that the discussions about what is happening, what the policies that are going on against trans people has been sort of pushed into the background, and we cannot stop harping on it. Absolutely. The right wing does try to use it as like a wedge issue or whatever, but it is a big issue. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. Why some conservatives and anti-trans advocates have presented a reported rise in trans youth as, I forgot that they use the word social contagion. Oh, that is very Nazi-esque. Okay, the Nazis used to describe Jewish people as rats and like a disease and things like that. Suggesting youth are copying their peers. The growth comes as people are now in an environment that allows them to fully express who they are. Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably not so much anymore. I think it's yes, it's more people are able to do that more, but recently I think that's probably not fully true because a lot of trans people have to hide themselves now these days. The report also found, not that they ever were sort of able, well, you see what I'm saying. Okay. The report also found that the race and ethnicity of trans people was largely similar to broader U.S. demographics, with indigenous, Latino, and multiracial adults slightly more likely to identify as trans than other groups. The Trump administration, that is interesting. I'm wondering if there are, for example, in Brazil and stuff, transgenderism is not, transgender folks are not sort of demonized as much. I'm wondering if that might partially explain some of the demographic things there. I don't know though. It's just me kind of talking out of my ass, I guess, but it's interesting. The Trump administration, which has widely attacked data collection efforts across the government, has moved to remove trans identity questions from two critical CDC behavioral health surveys, from Department of Justice surveys. Yeah, on victimization and sexual violence. Oh my God! And trans folks are have a much higher chance of experiencing those things, and he's trying to remove it. Okay, so he's basically greenlighting the assault of trans people. Yeah, excluding it from surveys. Those efforts followed from day one executive order. Can I just say something, folks? So one of the issues I have with the LGBTQ community, as someone in the LGBTQ community, is that, for example, I know a lot of gay men who are constantly like posting on social media about the threats to gay people, but then never will post about what's happening with transgender people who are above and beyond, have the largest target on them right now. And we need some more, I guess, collective LGBT engagement to protect the trans population. Okay. It's just something that kind of bothers me. Yeah, because obviously, right, that group is, I mean, gay men, yeah, whatever, we're targeted and stuff, but nowhere near anymore, okay, like the trans community. Okay, yeah, a lot of them have fled the states because of these laws. This is horrific. Yeah, we're literally trying to eliminate them from, okay, that is, yeah, they're trying to erase them from the record. Okay, yeah, that's horrific. Oh my God. Okay. So, by the way, folks, in schools, there's not. I have never. I have rarely met trans teachers, and we need more transgender teachers because there are a lot of trans students who don't really have an authority figure they can go to who shares a similar experience. Now, I am a gay man, but that not it's not the same as being trans. And so, because I'm a gay man, in places where folks knew I was gay, a lot of times trans folks would come to me. But that's not really good enough. Like, I mean, obviously, I have no problem being that person, but I wish we do have more trans teachers because we need to normalize the transgender community. Transgender youth especially need people in their lives they can go to that are in the same have the same identity as they do. But this also makes that harder because it's not easy. It would not be easy to be a transgender teacher. You can imagine all the pushback one might get from parents and stuff. All that nonsense. You're going to convert my child and all that other nonsense. So, all right, let me go back to chat here. Um, protect our trans youth folks, and just trans people in general. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me go back here. All right.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards, but did you know we...
All right. So let me see what we got in here in chat. Okay, guys. So let me see what we got in chat here. Okay, he said we shouldn't be able to publicly critique. Okay, posted an elephant. Thank you. Yeah, it's like over an hour long. We'll do it a different day. Uh, my bribe. Okay, Roblox Henry G. It's a 5 minute it's a 5 minute bribe. Okay. Macy Schroeder, Bourbon Bougie, or I've heard that. Alan W. I'm not getting gaslit into thinking you're coming back for a second stream again. I know, Alan W. I have occasionally been a liar. I apologize. I do. But I would like to come back later. Perhaps we'll do a more relaxed stream. I know I didn't really. This was sort of we did a lot of serious stuff. But I didn't structure it as much this time because there was a lot of news to kind of look through. Don't worry, JK, I will. I'll just do it on a separate screen because it's longer. Macy, I will do that. As a matter of fact, folks, I've gotten a lot of feedback about people on the West Coast not being able to watch my streams live. So I'm going to try and do some later streams just for the time issue so other people can join in who wouldn't normally be able to join because they're at work. Thank you, though, for that feedback, Macy. Lee Lane, hey, Lee Lane, welcome to the stream. Okay. Status quo just went live. ICE protests in Danbury. Is that true? Okay. Portugal just announced that we are going to create refugee camps. Oh, goodness. Okay. Tiago, I would love to hear more about that. I've had it. LOL. It's like 2 minutes. Is it? Okay. Which one is 2 minutes? Yeah, don't worry, Long Beach Dragon. I will try to do it a bit later. No, but don't worry. Like for the folks that are worried that means they won't be able to watch, I'll still be doing the midday streams too. But I was thinking, occasionally, if not daily, I could do a midday stream and a later stream, and some maybe not always, but a few times because I want to get some other people in here. All right, let me quickly see here. Okay, Macy Schroeder, which one is 2 minutes? Which one is 2 minutes? I would gladly watch it if it's 2 minutes. Thank you, Tiago. And Macy, would you tell me which video here is 2 minutes? The one in is it in the Discord? Let me take a look here. Oh, just watch. Oh, that one. Okay, thank you. I found it in the Discord. Okay. Well, that might not. Well, it looks like it. Okay, we'll just watch this. Okay, this will be the last thing we do, folks, and then I'll sign off for a bit, and then hopefully I'll come back on later. Thank you, Macy. I found it. Okay, so we'll just do this real fast. I don't know what this is going to be about, so I'm putting it in your hands, Macy. We'll see what it is, folks. Again, if you want to donate or do a super chat, if we get 3 more, we're about to get off though, so you won't help much, but I mean it'll always be helpful. But 3 more super chats. Okay, live stream here. Let's go. Let's see what Macy sent us. Take your ass to Cracker Barrel. Okay, well let's see here. By the way, folks, the slur, I don't know if I want to call it a slur, but the word cracker, that's used to, especially in the United States, towards white people, referring to the crack of the whip. That's of being a slave owner. Okay. Just an interesting side note there. All right. Let's playback speed. Okay. Here we go. Accurate. Yep. Oh, no audio. Okay. Sorry, folks. Let me quickly. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I went too quickly into this. Let me make sure there's audio. Okay. Let me make sure there's audio. I will start it over. Audio. Yeah, you're right. No audio output capture. 1 second. 1 second. I should have been more careful about that. Okay. Properties. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Here, let me start it over. It is short, so it's not like we can easily start it over. Okay, here, let's watch it again. It's very funny. I think you'll like it from what I've heard so far. Okay, let's go.
I've had it with white people that triple trumped, that have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI, and you want to browbeat gay people, and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years, and you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit, when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankle's McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant, get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
Good night, shit, Luna. Okay, folks, there you go. I love that. That was very funny. I totally agree. Right? I don't think people should be able to enjoy the fruits of our the multiculturalism in the United States if they're going to try to destroy it. Obviously. I love that lady. That's great. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to get off for now. I may come back on later. We'll see about that. I'm not going to promise anything, of course, because I also want to work on my channel a little bit. And if I get some stuff done there, I'll definitely come back on later. So be aware of that. All right. Now, once again, Macy, thank you for the great recommendation. So I think we all know what we're going to do now, folks. Let me quickly get to the face here. Exactly. Chainbreaker. Here we go. Let me do this. Okay. Okay, guys. So I'm going to get some food, relax a little bit or whatever. Okay. Do some work. Okay, so all right, you all know what I'm going to say. First of all, we need to protect trans people. Okay, free Palestine. Okay, we also need to protect trans people. Our trans brothers and sisters are in dire need of assistance. They're under attack on multiple fronts, and I would really appreciate people in the LGBT community remember that it's supposed to be a coalition. Okay, where different parts of the coalition help each other. It's not just about I'm gay, so I'm not trans, so therefore we need some coalition action there. The point of the coalition is we have we have strength in numbers. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm down talking anyone in the LGBTQ community, but it's just a frustration I have. Okay, so please protect trans people and free Palestine. Now, here we go to the next part. Okay, we need to keep resisting. All right, the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. That includes when you're watching me. Okay, I get things wrong. I get things wrong. I do. I get 100% get things wrong. You should not trust everything I say. You should not trust really anything I say without verification. And that's the same with everyone else you may watch online. Regardless, the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. Next here, we are living in a fascist moment. Okay, fascism is caused when people lose faith in the system in which they are in, and what they do instead is they start scapegoating minorities to blame them for it, and they start losing faith if they don't feel economically secure. The way to fix this is for major reforms. We need some major reforms in this country. You cannot stick in the center. If you stick in the center, we'll just keep seeing the same cycle repeat over and over again. Lastly, on the wall behind me, you see Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is a sword from the Civil War. It is thought to have killed 7 slave owners. Okay, I have that back there to remind people that many people here and around the world have made sacrifices, including sacrificing their lives to make things better for us here in the present, including gaining rights, gaining economic freedoms, things like that. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste here and around the world. We also we need to make things better for the future so that we don't make that sacrifice go to waste. All right, everyone got it? Okay, I will come back on later, folks. Hopefully, I don't want to be a liar again. And everyone, you have a good afternoon. Okay, I will see you later. Bye-bye.